Oh boy. Okay. Test, test, test. Man, test. This thing. Oh, what are we doing? What are we doing? All right. Let me make sure my audio's good. We are lagging. I don't know why. Okay. Let me get rid of that real quick. Make sure. Huh. Don't know what I'm doing. All right. Hopefully it's not too lag. Chat, am I lagging bad? I just want to make sure before we get going. How we doing? How we doing? Hey, let me know. Can I get a 1? Do I sound good? Are we looking good? It looks like it's clearing up. Today, man, it's Tuesday, so it's that time, and we're gonna have Easy on. We're gonna have another special guest. There we go. Not lagging too bad. No, okay, that might just be on my end. We got a 1. All right, cool. But we're gonna have a special guest. I didn't know like if I should. I didn't know if there was like a nickname here or not, so I'm gonna ask him when he joins because I can change the title. I just put special guest. I was like, dang, like, that ain't supposed to be disrespectful, but it's like special guest. Come on now. I didn't know what to put. But how we doing? I think I know what the plan is today, but I'm not completely sure. I'll verify when they join. But I know this. Everybody's made a mock draft, Alliance mock draft, so we'll look at those. Speaking of, I got to get mine pulled up. I had to restart the computer for some reason. Maybe that's why things are acting weird right before I started. So I no longer have my mock draft. So I got to find that. No, I got it. I got to go to my photos. We're going to do it through photos. So I saved it. That's good. We're going to do that. And then, like I said, I think we're doing an NFL mock draft, I think, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see when they get in here. Bro, with Brock Wright likely gone, I kind of want like Theo Johnson. Yeah, I haven't watched any Theo Johnson. I was trying to see if I had. No, it's someone else. Okay, I thought maybe someone else had talked about him to me, but it was somebody else. I haven't seen any Theo Johnson yet. Tight ends, went through a few, very light on tight ends still, but yeah, no, I think tight ends definitely in play. Hey, maybe it'll be in play with these mock drafts tonight. You know what I'm saying? So tight ends weird though this year. I mean, if you looked at the tight ends this year in the board, there's like a massive gap. It feels like right after there's a massive gap right after Sanders out of Texas. And even Sanders out of Texas, I think a lot of it's still projection. You know, there's still a lot of things that you're projecting. And then there's a gap. And then you get to guys like Eric All, or when you get to guys like Eric All, you're kind of like, okay, he's pretty good, right? He was at Michigan, went to Iowa, but there's like so many things that there does feel like there's real limitations there. So it feels like it's definitely not like last year. I'm glad we got Laporta when we did. That's what I'm trying to say. What's up, Jordy? How you doing? He's a straight dog. Okay, I'm going to check him out. I got you. I'm gonna check them out. Look, man, y'all have thrown me names, and I've been checking them out. I probably haven't got to all of them, but like in the background, I've been diving into these, and I think the way that we're gonna do it is we're going to do like some big board list. But I found out if y'all were joining us on, let me get this going too. There we go. Now it feels right. If you joined us Saturday when we did our mock draft, you know, the walk the mock one, then I can create a big board and I can throw it over there and I can make a code. And then you guys can use the code. I'm sure nobody will use that, but I was like, that's fire. When I do my big board, bam. So that's my goal for this year. I want to have a real live big board that's going to be published before the draft. And honestly, I think I'm on my way. I really do. I'm not that far. I'm really not. I'm kind of far. I'm not that far though. Like, chat, I could probably knock out a top 75 right now. I'm not even gonna lie. Now there'd be gaps. You'd be like, wait a minute. Yo, how did he make top 75? Because I don't know. I didn't know the other dude. Anyway, what about tight end Eric All? So yeah, Eric All. Like, I like Eric All. I do. And man, the first thing that popped when I was watching Eric All was the speed, the straight line speed, his ability to threaten the seam. But there's also limitations, it feels like, just in terms of how detailed we can get with the route running. Like, knowing that we have Sam Laporta, I couldn't help but when I started to look at guys like that, it was like, oh man, I want to see some of that Laporta in him. Like, does he have some of that? And then you just don't see it. And you're like, okay, it's just not the same this year. But I do like Eric All. And he might be the third tight end off the board this year, right? Like, that's just, it's just so different this year than it was last year. And receiver is one of those spots that are really interesting. Did we sign Tyler Boyd? We did not sign Tyler Boyd from what I know. All right, that has not happened yet, but that was kind of like the rumor. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry if you had to see that. I don't know what that was. But that's like a rumor that's going on right now. So keep an eye on that. But receiver, for example, like every year it feels like we come in and we're like, man, receiver is loaded, which I think it mostly is because of how the draft goes now. But honestly, like even a draft like this, like there's a lot of guys at the top that are real strong. Like late round 1, round 2. Round 1's going to be solid with receivers, especially at the top. It's top heavy. And then there's like real names in that second round where you could get I could see a lot of receivers. Then you get to round 3. Maybe it's typically like this. It might be. But then you get to round 3 and you might get a couple. And then it's like, all right, it feels like it dies out pretty fast. All right. Maybe that's just the players that I've watched so far at receiver, but it feels like it dies out fast. So it's like you can go get your starter in the first 2 rounds, maybe round 3. And then after that, like, bro, you're looking for like a singular trait maybe that you like. But yeah, no, I'm going to check him out. I got to check out a lot of tight ends. I got to get to a lot of tight ends. I won't say who the most recent one was because I don't want to spoil nothing, but can't wait for Holmes to fire up that barbecue grill. What is he making, Chrome? What's he making though? All right. I'm going to make sure I got this pulled up in the background. What is that? I don't know what that is. All right. Let me make yo. See, look, this is the kind of I'm glad this thing ain't screen share. Okay, I'm going to throw up my mock draft here. I'm not going to show it yet. I don't know. Is this it? That is not it. Oh, bro, I hope it's saved. It should have saved. It's saved. All right, good. That was going to scare me. But I will say this about the mock draft. So Easy called me and he was like, how are we doing these mock drafts? Are we doing this how Brad Holmes would do it? Or are you doing it like what you would do? And I told him, do it what you would do because, like one, I don't know what the heck Brad Holmes is going to do. I never seemingly know. But also, my opinions are changing so much. I wouldn't say like I've swayed a ton on like certain players I've already watched, maybe some a little bit. Some I just had to revisit. But we're going to do it like that. Like that's kind of the criteria for doing these mock drafts. And it's led me to getting a lot of new players in here. So today we're going to talk about a lot of new players again. I don't know what theirs look like. I think we get Gilmore or Howard in free agency. Go for the best edge in the draft and draft receiver like Leggett. That's a possibility. I mean, look, they would have the cap space to do it. Part of me would be a little bit surprised if they went out and got a guy like Stephon Gilmore. Part of me would be kind of surprised about that. I mean, it wouldn't hurt anything necessarily, right? If you added Stephon Gilmore, or I guess Howard, they're kind of in a similar boat. But let's just stick on Stephon Gilmore because I know a lot more about Gilmore than I do Howard. I think Howard's also had recent injuries, but I could be wrong on that. But like a player like that would surprise me, I think, a little bit with what the Lions have added in free agency. But you could do it. You would not be asking that early cornerback to start, and that's okay. That's okay. And then you say go best edge available in the draft. Now if you're talking about edge, right? So edge is another one of those spots where it feels a little bit weird too. Like edge might be better to wait. You might be better off waiting. Darius Robinson. Look, all right, we got him in here. Actually, let me turn this off real quick. Make sure this thing don't bug out. Wait, what is it? Okay, here we go.
You on the screen. Oh,
what we doing? How we doing, y'all? How we doing? Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Dion.
Hey, what's up?
So you can hear us all right?
Yeah, you sound good. All right, sweet. You look good, too. The setup looks good. Okay, Easy. I say you, Easy. All right. How y'all doing, man?
Is this good?
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
We're doing great. We're excited. We just finished up our mock drafts. We're excited to present. I'm pumped to be here, Dion, by the way. I'm a fan of yours. I'm excited to be joining the stream.
Okay, let's not do that. No, hey man, look, I'm glad that you're here because you're always in the chat, and it's like, bro, we got to get him on the show if he's just gonna be in here. Yes, so now, so you guys did mock. Did you guys both make him on PFF then?
Yeah, you want me Twitter you our mocks?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You can send him over, and I can screen share him. Also, I gotta ask. So I didn't put like your name in the title, right? Like I put Speak Easy. So I'm like, is there like, I didn't want to just put something in there. So I was like, is there like a nickname or something I should be aware of that like you go by that the people know you by, or is that something we need to create?
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, most people just call me Broder. My name Matt Broder, but yeah, Broder. Okay. The Southpaw.
Yeah.
No one really calls me that.
The Southpaw.
Well, hold on. This guy pitched for Michigan.
Whoa.
How did that happen?
I don't think it
I think it has motion censored.
Dang.
We're gonna need to figure this. Yeah.
Man, I mean,
sorry, Dion. You're getting the live
wild.
Super Saiyan Lions. What up?
There you go. Oh, dude, yeah.
We good?
That thing moved on its own.
Yeah, we just gotta.
Nice.
Yeah. That's probably something.
Clap.
Broder pitched for Michigan.
You pitched for Michigan. Okay. You
left.
didn't have a nickname? It was
Southpaw. No. Yeah, no real nickname. Just pitchers. We're weird. Like we just stand around in a bullpen, just twiddling our thumbs, having big league chew. There's a lot of downtime in baseball, as you might know. Yeah, no nickname for me.
Okay, but you were like a sunflower seed guy or no?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Do they allow you to chew tobacco in college?
No, they don't allow you, but a lot of people do. A lot of coaches do. I tried it once and I got sick. It's just
Same.
not for me.
Same.
Okay, let me yeah, easy. Send those whenever. Easy. I want to ask you this though.
Yeah.
Because I messaged you. I mean, you guys can both let me know, like, what do you guys think? So we go through our Lions one. I guess then we could just kind of see where we're at. If you guys want to do the NFL mock side, we can. But if not, we could just do ours. I didn't know what you guys were thinking coming into this, so I'm kind of.
Hey, you're the host, man. Whatever you want to do.
Hey, y'all let me know because like time reasons and stuff. Like I don't want to hold y'all too long. I think we should just go through the mocks first, see where it's at. Because with 3 people, I don't know how long it's going to take. So then we just go from there.
Oh, you're talking about that site you were telling me about.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could do that.
No, we could do that. Yeah, because that does take a while. I mean,
we probably don't need to use that though. Because there's only. I mean, we're all drafting. We probably don't need to use that. Like unless we were all signed in at the same time, then we could use it. But we'd only be like one team, so it'd be kind of weird.
Do you have to? Oh, that's very true.
But I think going forward, that's the way to do it. Like I want to do like some live shows like that, and we just join. We got to get people to like join into it, and we just do it all live. I think that'd be a sweet setup. All right, let's do it then. I can show mine first.
Yeah,
unless y'all got yours ready.
Show me your mock, Dion.
All right, let's do it. Hey, did you guys do trades?
So I did, yeah, and I just looked at I was kind of embarrassed by the trades. That's why I haven't sent it yet. I was going to sneakily try to do another one, but I'm just going to send it and confess my sins.
Doing another one, that's great.
So you know it is what it is. Here it comes.
Yeah, mine said I have one trade. I really want to be in that, like the gap between 73 and 164. There are so many good players in there, and I don't like all the 201 and 205. If I can, trade back out of the first round, or even that 61 pick, and try to get something in the early hundreds, I love the players that are available there.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. What's up, Easy?
I didn't like what I gave up in my trade.
Oh, I got you.
I do have a question for you though. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, what's up?
Well, because we were asking each other, how do you do your sliders when you do PFF?
Oh, I just leave them as they're set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't really touch them.
No, I'm joking.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. Do you move them around?
Yeah, only because so you know how there's a draft for needs slider and it's like almost all the way up.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm a nerd and I'll listen to like a lot of like the GM interviews during like the combine and stuff like that. Like a lot of them have that same thought process. At least the good ones, I should say. Maybe I should correct myself. A lot of the good ones that I listen to, they all said we're not going to draft for need. We're going to draft like best player available. That's like how you do this thing. Like, it's the sentiments of Brad Holmes. So I always try to like slide that down just because like the whole entire league can't be drafting off needs, right?
No, that's true. I hear you on that because they do have that high. I don't know like how they value that though. Like is them putting that higher like value differently because they don't really explain it with the simulator. It's just a bar, so I don't really know what they're saying there. So yeah, I don't move it, but it does make sense. That would be the one to move too. All right,
randomness. Do you guys believe randomness?
I just figure, the PFF rankings, especially the college players, they are what they are. Like who knows how accurate? There are guys that are going to be ranked lower that probably should be higher. So I think as long as we all take it with a grain of salt that, Jerzon Newton keeps falling to me in every single draft as the number eighth ranked defensive, number 8th ranked player.
Right.
Bro.
Yeah. No. Then right before I got on today, it said it was updating. So I was like, oh, maybe they're changing some things up. And then I didn't see anything really different. So I was like, okay, I guess this. But this is why I think it's okay. You should do trades, especially if you're using PFF, because like certain players are only going to go in certain spots or like in a certain range. So if you want a guy, just go get him because PFF, like it's not going to be accurate. When we come back to this, we're going to look back and be like, yo, PFF was way off in certain spots. It just is what it is. Okay, let's do it then.
Let's see it.
Maybe we'll have to do a 7-round mock draft where we control every single team. We do all 250 picks. I think that'd be a great show.
That would. We'd probably get an audience.
Hey, yo, I was playing, but y'all seem like you were on board for that. Okay, that would be like the longest. Okay, let's do it. Here we go.
And so is this your preference? Like if you were drafting versus Brad Holmes, like what was your mindset going into this?
Yeah, that was my mindset because one, I know I can't predict Brad Holmes. So like I try to step back and be like, yo, let me really not take needs, like Easy said, and I'll be accurate. But at the same time, like I already know I'm gonna be completely wrong. Plus, I also know like since my opinions continue to change, like I feel like if I was almost really doing it in like what I think Brad Holmes would do, I don't know if it would change much. Like if it would change much because it would just be like, here's what I think he's gonna do. So bam, I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna always get the same player. But if I can change my opinions on players, then I can shift it up a little bit. So like Charles, he's saying linebacker. I would be shocked if they did something, especially Peyton Wilson. I'd be like, what are we doing here? But yeah. Okay. Let's do it. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I closed the tab because my computer was frozen. All right, here we go. We got to build the suspense. We started with the trade.
Moving up.
Oh man.
Yeah, we moving up. Now look, I gotta say, I feel really good about this one. And let me reposition here. I did this over the weekend. I was like, I'm not gonna watch anybody this weekend, and then I did. And when I stepped back, I was like, man, to what you just asked, like what Brad Holmes would do. I guess this is kind of a mix. I would be willing to do this too, but like part of me believes this makes so much sense. Like there's a strong part of me that makes so much sense, and you're about to see why. So yeah, the trade was, and I tried to follow the value chart for this one. I gave up 61, and I basically, to what you said about that huge gap, the way that I think that you could almost address it by trading up is if you did something like this, you just swapped out 61 or 73 and then pushed it back. So you can do that because they're so close together. How do you guys feel about the trade though? Are you guys on board with trading up? I want to hear from you, Broder, because I don't know your stance on that whole thing.
I'm a fan of trading up obviously if you trade up, it's Brad Holmes' guy that he's moving up to go get whatever position it is. There are probably 3 or 4 guys that I would be perfectly all right with. Lately, I've been in like the trade back move for that reason, to try to get, maybe 2 picks in those early 100s or late 90s, but I'm totally down to trade up. One of my last mock drafts, I traded up for Terrion Arnold, cornerback. And the first one I did, I think, was Dallas Turner. So I'm interested to see what direction you're going here.
Okay, so you were really going up then. Yeah. I'll say that I had some of the recent drafts in my ears, so I could just kind of hear. And like a lot of times when you get this spot, it always seems to come down to like who's going to trade up for that quarterback. But there's like usually a lot of movement, even if it's a couple spots. I think it was like, what was it, last year when Bills moved up for Kincaid, and you get like a lot of swapping around there. Feels like because you're going to have so many different opinions that there's going to be some real movement that happens here. All right, let's do it though.
Nate Wiggins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. See, look, man, this is one, like I've seen Nate Wiggins. He's one of the first players, so I had to revisit this. I knew I had to, and I didn't even realize I was watching the same games I've already watched until I kept watching. I was like, I've already seen these. And so I found my old notes. But man, Nate Wiggins, to me, here's why I think this makes so much sense. He's such a man-heavy corner, but at the same time, with his size, he's a little bit taller than Cam Sutton, but he's on the light side like Cam Sutton, but he's also tested out way better than Cam. If the Lions were looking for essentially just a much more athletic Cam Sutton, right? You're not getting the physical Carlton Davis body type, but also a guy that's coming for heavy background in man coverage. That's Nate Wiggins. And then you also start to tie in the things that we'll always talk about as Lions fans, like, oh, they gotta have the grit, right? They gotta have like the effort, they gotta have all of those things in the motor. And then you watch him and you're like, yeah, he checks all of those boxes. I mean, some of his highlights are him just tracking people down, punching the ball before they score.
He's fast.
Did that twice. He's absolutely fast. And then I also look at it like from a movement side. I don't think there's anyone really from every corner that I've watched, and the guy I've watched the least amount is Terrion Arnold, but every corner I've watched, I don't think there's a guy that's really that close in terms of movement skills to Nate Wiggins. Like, I don't think there's a guy that's really in the same area as Nate Wiggins there. So I ended up like walking back with some of like the highest spots that I gave in some like the athletic traits. So like for me, this one, like from background to play style to also just like athletically speaking, I think this would be an awesome fit opposite of Carlton Davis, and this could absolutely be a long-term fit. Like, and then there's flexibility. Like Nate Wiggins is one of those dudes that you could kick him into the slot if you wanted to. Very natural moving around. So I felt awesome about this one. And if you ask me right now, if I had to predict who the Lions will take, I'll say they trade up and take Wiggins in the real draft.
Wow. I like him. I mean, he's a great player. My biggest concern with him is his injuries, his size. I like his size, his height. He's like 6'2", but he's 173 pounds, if I remember correctly, from the combine. But he is lightning quick. I love the fact you're attacking a man corner, a man heavy type corner with versatility. So I don't hate it. He's not my favorite cornerback in this first round, but again, he's one. If Brad Holmes, if they see something in him, I really don't know. I can't break down a cornerback too well. If they see something in him and they pound the table for him, I'm okay with that.
Right.
For me, if I had to pick any receiver cornerback out of this class to like man down any wide receiver, or at least have the confidence in them to do it, honestly, it would be Nate Wiggins, and probably second place probably Quinyon Mitchell. The size I get, and the size became a concern. Obviously, once the combine, we got to see how it was, and then now you're wondering, like, okay, you did run a pretty quick 40.
Fast.
Also got hurt. Also light as feathers. I was going to say a swear word there. I stopped there, Dion, just for you. Shout out YouTube monetizing the stream. But
hey, that's fair.
With his frame, though, with how tall he is and how lengthy he is, the arms a little bit shorter than I thought they were going to be, but he's still like, I feel like he can fill out for as big as he is, and it's not as big as a concern. The Emmanuel Forbes stuff, though, from last year did concern me. Watching him get taken high early and as light as he was, and not like I remember watching because I bet money on it, and it's the game that Washington played him tough, and I kind of went to OT there a little bit. Shout out, thank you.
Eduardo says he looks sexy.
AJ Brown demolished him like a child because, and you saw like the weight difference there, but like the skill set, the effort, I think that's all there. It matches what Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes likes, and if they have confidence he could fill out, then like I'm down for it. I do like Nate Wiggins.
Yeah. No, look, so this is you guys are right. 173 is what I had the official measurement. Just over 6'1". So the height's there. Obviously tested real well. The last thing I'll say to this is, to me, the weight thing, I never felt like it was there when I was watching him. I don't know if you guys there was examples, but like you said, you just brought up a specific example. You saw AJ Brown eat him up. I didn't watch an example where I walked back and I was like, dang, this feels like size could be a real problem here. So because I didn't see it, that never even really came into my mind with this whole situation. And plus, he is one of those dudes that they use a lot as a blitzer, right off the edge. So, and the Lions will do that absolutely as well. And because of all the movement and the high FBI had him, I'm like, bro, this just makes too much. Bro, who did they like last year? Right, it was Devin Witherspoon. That's what we heard. Right, that wasn't the biggest cornerback, but it was like, yo, off cover, he's gonna dive on the football anticipation. He's super aggressive. He's not that, but it's like, I don't know. It just makes so much sense to me right now. But anyway, I'll keep it moving. I think we don't have a trade here. Yeah, okay, this is the one I'm going to keep the same. I'm going to keep this one the same for my last one. I'm going to roll with Austin Booker.
And what pick is this?
Oh, that's actually a good question. This is 73. Okay, so yeah, this would be the third round pick. Yeah, because I traded away the second round pick, I think. Yep. So yeah, this is the top of the third round. This is the one I'm not really sure on, because if you ask me for a need thing, I wouldn't be able to look at this and tell you that this makes the most sense, because I'm like, okay, I don't know if he's really going to start right away. He'd probably be behind Davenport in a lot of spots. And then it's I don't really know how much he's going to do year one. But if I do go back to what I think Dan said it, where it was hey, we might draft a lot of guys that might not be starters this year. From what I've seen so far, to me, Austin Booker, what type of rusher is he? I mean, you could classify him as a speed rusher because of his build, but I think he wins more with power technique at a guy that's 240. And to me, that's what I'm excited about, because he's so long, the frame's there. And once you tie that with the fact that the way he wins is kind of opposite of that, I'm like, yo, if he can fill it a little bit, the guy's so young, he's not played a lot of snaps. I always love that aspect when the dude's 21 and he plays 500 snaps. I love that. And you can already see it. So yeah, I love it. I mean, it's bro, the upside's there. And to me, this is one of the spots where I was you could make an easy case to go in a lot of different spots that would probably be easier to just plug in and play. But to me overall, I think when you look back, the Lions we're going to all want to say as fans, if we did go attack edge opposite of Hutch, we didn't want a guy that was, I think, solid. I think we wanted to get that special piece because this is your opportunity to do it. That's how I look at it. So I took Booker.
So I did a mock yesterday, and I kind of rushed it, but I always see him there in the third. I've always had a man crush on this guy, Austin Booker, as a prospect. And you said Ziggy. And this one may be a little bit of a stretch, no pun intended, because they're both really tall, lanky guys. But Devin Taylor, you remember Devin Taylor? His LinkedIn, how just upset. We got he's covering Dianola. Either way, it might be Devin Taylor, and I feel like in the interior when we got Lee McNeil, and obviously got DJ Reader now, that it would allow this kid, even throughout his development, to somewhat be productive for us. The measurements I expect them to be. I thought they were going to be a lot better than what they were coming out of the draft class, but. You put on the tape. I mean, even though he looks skinny and lanky, bro, he's still putting offensive tackles in the ground, putting pullers in the ground. And I know he looks kind of lost in the run game, but I think that's just him being really, really raw. And I think you make a great point too. If I didn't know that Dan said that, we're gonna take guys and they're gonna sit this year, that's the perfect guy I would take. I think the upside is that of I want to I don't even want to say the names, but like he has the build. I don't want to say the names.
It's upside of ceiling.
Yes,
ceiling.
But high upside. Like lesser than a Crosby. But that's just a way to articulate though, because the build's similar, right? Like, and he has some production too for being as raw as he is.
And remember, one of the biggest offseason acquisitions, Terrell Williams, a defensive line coach, like a master developer of the defensive line positions. I know it might be defensive tackle heavy. We see a Jeffrey Simmons, but like an edge with upside, that does fit. And you're right, Dan Campbell did say that, and he was talking about like because of how their roster is now constructed, like their draft picks might not come and start right away, but they're raising the floor. Like they might have started last year, but it's now, those top 4 guys are now, it's like if Brian Branch was your backup, like that's their goal.
Yep. Yeah, and I would argue, and there still would be a spot because like obviously you need pass rushers, so 3rd down. But you could even say like, okay, well those spots that we usually play James Houston, this guy to me would probably beat him for that spot. I would bet, just because I think he could be more well-rounded. But it's also still raw to the point where it's not like I'm drafting him and it's like his floor is right here, but his ceiling's kind of close to it. So now that I'm drafting him and I have James, it's like, okay, maybe he's a little bit better than James, but now I still have to work that balancing act. This is one of those things where that's a true competition. Like those two are gonna have to battle it out, but it's also like I know this is a long run type pick, and I'm cool with doing that for edge. Charles said he would take Marshawn Nealon. He wasn't there for me at this spot. Like I said, I had concerns with him. I know Easy's a big fan of Marshawn. Do I think he could be Alex Highsmith? I don't know enough about Alex Highsmith. Like I don't be watching him like that, to be honest. But I think he could be big time, dude. I think he could be huge. So I don't know how else to explain it other than that. He's one of my favorites.
I think the length allows him to play the run a little bit too. He's able to reach out there, grab guys, even not make the tackle, just slowing them up even.
Right. Oh yeah, I mean he's flashed like against the run, and he's flashed in coverage too. It's like, all right, he can do a little bit of that. So even if you asked him to extend a little bit, you could do that.
One more point.
Go ahead.
The new special teams too.
Yeah. Hey,
perfect build for that.
Special teams the thing now, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I love it. All right. I didn't even realize I did that. I kind of felt weird doing this. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, Kansas.
I think I traded here though. So let me show you the trade first. I made 2 trades in this mock, and this one what did I do here? I traded
up 5 spots.
Yes,
93
5 spots. Yeah, I mean, like, so this is the discussion that we had right before. It was like, yo, it's PFF. They're gonna take certain guys in certain spots, and I could see where they had him ranked, and I think it was like right near 100. So I was like, all right, I don't know if I want to wait or not. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm just not gonna wait. Baltimore might go on lineman or something. I don't know what they're gonna do. So I'm just gonna go do it and just make sure I have the player. I haven't drafted him yet. But this is a play, he plays tackle. He might have some questions, I think, really kicking the guard because of his height. But I do think that his skill set reminds me a lot of what I think the Lions have went for offensive linemen. Like every time I think of it always feels like it's now checking the box of athleticism first, movement skills first. Like they have to connect those boxes. And you see that with him. And it almost reminds me of like Colby Sorstel in a sense. And here, let me know what you guys think about this. With the Lions drafting Colby Sorstel last year, day 3, small school, do you think they'd really be willing to do that again if they were really looking at like, hey, we need interior offensive line depth this year, like let's go add a guard or something? Do you think they'd be willing to wait to day 3 and then maybe get a player kind of like he's got a long way to go again? Or would they feel like they have to kind of press it because it's like we can't draft another player, kind of like what we did with Colby Sorstel? Like, does that make sense?
You want to go first?
Yeah. My guess is that they do address offensive line, specifically on the interior, although maybe you get kind of a combo tackle guard. There's a lot of those in the draft, probably in the first 3 rounds. Hopefully, as someone that can slot in as your hopeful starter next year, if you can't retain Zeitler or he retires or something, and then continue to let Colby develop as that, second backup guard / tackle or wherever they want to have him long term. So that's what I think they do with the unpredictability of Ragnow and Zeitler. Depending on what they do with Decker, do they extend him? Do they just let his contract play out? I don't know. But then you also got to think Hank Fraley may be moving on next year. He may be getting an OC job with Ben Johnson or something. So the unpredictability of who's going to be that offensive line coach, if they're thinking that, you may want to go get your guy in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah. That makes I hear you.
Just my thought.
Yeah, no, that makes tons of sense. Yeah,
I think they go earlier just because Brad is obviously a BPA guy, And I just feel like this class of offensive linemen, there's too many good guys, and we know like he's want to move up for a guy that he really, really wants. And you point blank said that it is it's something they're not going to ignore. And I don't think they just addressed it finally with Zeitler, because as Broder said, Zeitler more than likely probably going to retire this year. You don't know what the future of Taylor Decker is. He's kind of been flirting around a little bit sometimes too. Ragnow as well. So I feel like if it's something you want to address within your window, you want some top tier talent. And I think there's just a lot of it in this draft class where like I would see him probably more likely, if anything, for sure grabbing earlier. I wouldn't say move up per se, but definitely something earlier. Like even like a Mims or guys that kind of I feel kind of like raw even, you know.
Man,
I've been seeing Tyler Morgan follow me a lot of times, like the second.
Yeah, like Morgan.
Are you guys familiar with him at all? Is he
at Arizona? Morgan?
Yeah,
I like him. I don't know a ton about him, but I know he's athletic. He's powerful. I had him going to the 49ers one time at 32. Like he's a little bit of a project, but can start probably day one at a guard position. I don't know. I've heard good things. I can't admit to diving too deep.
Look. So just quick note on that. Like that was the first mock draft I did. I had us taking him. People were like, "What are we doing?" I had him taking him. I traded back to like what you said out of the first round pick, and I took the tackle. I think with my first pick, and I did exactly what you said. I was like, "Hey, I think it's going to take some time, but for the same reason that you'd be interested in a guy like that is why I took Punai right here. I think that's how you pronounce. I don't know how you pronounce this. Same reason. Yeah. It's like, I'd look for the athleticism first with the offensive lineman, just the movement skills. And that's the same reason I took Morgan. Morgan probably has more meat on the bone there. And yeah, I think he'd be much more natural just pushing in the guard than Dominic would. But it's a similar reason.
Got you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, chat. If you haven't seen him, man, check him out. I know one guy in the chat. This has been their guy. So they've been like asking me to draft this dude.
Pooney?
Yeah. I don't know. So just one. Hey, if you in the chat, say what's up. Someone just always tells me about Pooney, but I was like, okay, hey, I'll check him out. But yeah, I just think like a lot of the what Colby Sorso I thought was good at right tackle, like all the short setting, getting on guys quickly, the hands. I was like, that can translate to guard. I think the Lions bought into that, and I think he does the same thing. So that could be a reason to buy into guard. Plus, our guards are tall, dude. Like, get some tall interior offensive linemen. Okay.
Ooh.
What pick is this? Yeah, 130. Oh, I made another trade. Dang. Oh, my bad. See, look, I thought I was done.
I got our camera.
Making another trade. I traded. What I do? I traded back up again. So you got to go get your guy, man. You got to
like it.
164, 205, got to 130. I think receiver kind of dies out kind of quickly in the draft. I don't know how you guys see it, but like when it gets to like beyond round 3, I think it falls off. Especially depending on what the line's looking for. I mean, if they go make a move like Tyler Boyd, then it's like, hey, we don't got to do all this. But it's like, it falls off. You're looking for an impact player. Cornelius Johnson is like the last player of this group that I think I could plug in and kind of start. He'd probably still be rotational, but I would feel good about like him actually making the roster. And I also think he's much different than a lot of the receivers. I think there's a couple that have similarities, but yeah, he tested extremely well. Super agile, which I didn't even see all of that when I watched him, but it showed up on his testing scores. So Lions, I think, will love that. And then also, he brings me flashes of what I think they could be losing in Josh. Much more of kind of like the contested, deep level 3 kind of threat rather than maybe some of the underneath stuff. But I think you get a lot of that back. Run blocker, big time. I just like some subtleties. I think he could be very limited in terms of what the route tree could dig into there, but at the same time, I think for the role that we're losing with Josh Reynolds, if they don't address it, he could make up a lot of the same routes that Josh Reynolds ran for us. So I felt good about this one because I think he'll definitely make the team, and I think he could also play this season.
Yeah, like he's different than all the other receivers on the roster. I can't pinpoint like what I think of Cornelius Johnson. Like we never saw what his true potential really is at Michigan. You could say that about any receiver on Michigan and their quarterback. So you want to think that he's gonna. In the right system or in a system that features the wide receiver a little bit more, you might be seeing something because he's an athlete, like you said. Yeah, he's agile. He's a very good route runner. He's not a Roman Wilson, but he's a very good route runner and can just do something a little different. So I like that Josh Reynolds comp. He is about 6'3". So I haven't taken him in any of my drafts, but he's one who could turn it like a Nico Collins type. Like you don't really. We didn't see it at Michigan, but he could end up being a very good pro. Nico looks great.
Man, you all you would see was flashes at Michigan, and then Michigan fans could step back and be like, "Man, hey, there's something there." Because I mean, I'm sure you were the same way too. You love Nico coming out. I remember loving Nico, and then for so long he did nothing in the NFL. I was like, that guy missed. And all of a sudden, here comes CJ Stroud. He takes off. It's like, there you go. There was something in there. It just had someone had to bring it out. I love that. I love that comp. What you think, Easy?
I like you talking about quarterbacks bringing out the talent out of the wide receivers and the running backs and the tight ends. Like the quarterback factors in that, huh? That's just a little jab, a tiny jab at Easy. Tiny jab.
It don't affect me none.
I know.
All right.
I'm not well versed, but I was reading a little bit up on him. The athletic numbers, I guess I'd like to see. I do like that he's 6'3". I mean, that is the Josh Reynolds build that you kind of want to replace there at the Z spot. If he can move well, I'm fairly confident Ben Johnson can make him work.
He can move well.
Yeah,
and little I know about him too, even watching him, he can move well.
They love the freaky testing for Peoples Jones. Like they were like, yo, that guy was a crazy athlete. So it's like, I don't see why I don't know. Cornelius Jones always wanted to, you're right. He didn't like pop ever consistently. Like he had some games where he had like 2 receptions. Like what dude has 2 receptions that you're feeling good about in the draft? But it's like, you just see it when it's there. It's like, hey, there was something really good about that. When I ended up going through the grades, like it was hard to hit notes because there was a lot of times where he just wasn't getting the football. But like, I didn't dislike him really in any category. I thought he was just above average at a lot of things. So yeah, I think this is a good spot for him.
What pick was that again?
That was 130.
Oh, dude, that's a phenomenal pick, honestly.
Okay, I like that.
You got that much of a high upside. That's a great pick, honestly.
Okay.
Try to start sniping them too.
I just want to B. You know what I mean? Like last time I had the C+. That's all I'm hoping for, to be real. I have like 2 late picks here. So I didn't move anymore, but I went tight end with this spot. I haven't, honestly, like once you get to this spot, there's a lot of players you haven't seen. I have seen this player, Tanner.
I like him.
You like him. Okay, you speak about him. What do you think?
And then I don't know about him a lot, like in depth. I haven't watched much film, but I know him and Tip Ryman out of Illinois, like what they can do in the blocking game. Like if I'm not mistaken, Tanner McLaughlin, he can improve his route running and pass catching, that part of his game, but he's like a Brock Wright type where you know what you're going to get on the line, and any little bit of extra you can get in the pass game is just gravy on top.
Yeah, I almost took him in the draft I sent you, Dion, for that very reason. The only reason I didn't is some of the stuff I was reading up on him was like he didn't have like the twitch, but he more of a tight end. But I was looking at that late in the round. I was looking for more guys that could moonlight as special teamers too. Again, with the new special teams, the way the kickoff is now too. Like I want guys with twitch because there's that short space you got to work in to block these other guys in the return game.
Yeah. I mean, this feels like the perfect spot. Brock don't come back because I mean Brock was undrafted, so I try not to like over. It's like if we're gonna replace it, it could absolutely be one of your last picks. But like, yeah, for me it was Tanner. It was one. I was kind of impressed. Like he brings a lot of balls down, and it was like, yo, his route tree maybe not that deep to what you said, Easy, but he's also real thin. I think he was like 240 when he was playing. It's like he could get a lot bigger. He doesn't even look like a tight end playing the position, yet he moved pretty well. So that's why I went that route. And then my last one, 249. I went with safety. I would have loved this. This is how I can prove that this is not being drafted. I would have loved to have a defensive tackle in this mock. I would have loved it, but I went with safety because one, I haven't seen a ton of defensive tackles at this spot, so no one really stood out there. So I'm honestly going to draft somebody, but I have seen. I don't even know how you pronounce his name. I thought it was Oladipo. It's Oladapo. I don't know, maybe he's his brother or something. Look, this is a player that like the big concern I would have with this is not this size. I mean, he's like 6'2", 200+ pounds. He ran the 4.58, but he also played cornerback at Oregon State. So the biggest concern I would have is I don't know that he has the range for what we want to do. Like, I don't know if I could put him into, hey, back up Kirby Joseph. You got to cover the entire field, right? You're a single high safety. You have to deal with that. I don't know that he could fall into that category and actually give me real value there, but I know that he could give me value in the sense of he could step down and cover tight ends. He's fine there. He doesn't have the athleticism to cover wide receivers, so he's got to push the safety. He's a good run defender. So we talk about special teams value. He's always on his feet. He plays with some of the best balance. I'm like, how's this guy? This guy just is never on the ground. And he's, again, another big blitz piece, third safety usage, slides into the box. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think we're going to need some safety depth at some point. So if they don't hit it in free agency again, maybe get someone just to add in there with our big guy that we got right now, whose name's slipping my mind. You guys got any thoughts?
I listen, I think at first I wanted to sign a safety, which I obviously still not opposed to, but after listening, I don't know if you caught that or not. I know we put it on our show. I'm sure you saw it too, but Fonte Miller, we did a podcast, and he was talking about the a lot of the blitzes he was sitting on. They were like meetings he had prior. Remember, he's switching from cornerback to safety, and then it kind of took him a year to buy into that transition in general. But a lot of those came from meetings he had with AG that week. Tell him if you see these certain formations, this guy go here, drop down, blitz. And I think like you could afford to draft a safety late if you have a coach like Aaron Glenn who's able to make those type of instructions and come to fruition too in game. So like I'd almost rather draft a safety, and then like I think it's a great position to draft late too, especially if the coaching is going to be that phenomenal and if the D line in the way it's supposed to too.
Yeah. That last thing I'll say then, because to what you just said, he's in the same body type, and they used him in a lot of the similar usage, like as a blitzer. But yeah, 6'2", 216 is what he officially measured in at. He didn't test super well, but 15 bench press, 4.5, 840. Like that's not great, but it's like okay, you could see the body type, and you could see the step down the box play man coverage. You could see that. I just think he might be a little bit limited, but I mean, we're talking about special teams probably with a guy at draft. I don't even know what spot this is. 249. Yeah. I'm just hoping he makes the roster. So I took a swing on him. Okay, Who wants to go next? Oh, actually, hold on. Before we do that. All right, chat, grade it. I know I'm not going to get no A's. Chat, there's got to be a day, right? One day you'll have to think to yourselves, when am I going to give this guy an A grade? Because we've been doing this for years. and I mean, I'm just saying, there's never been overwhelmingly A's in the chat. I'm trying to figure out what needs to happen. That's where I'm at with it right now. Chat, tell me how this is not an A. I need to know. I think this is an A+, dog. It's my favorite one yet. That's because I just did it. But y'all can give me some grades. Easy. I'm just hoping for a B-. So I want his B-. Yeah. It's got to.
Easily at least a B.
Okay. Easy.
Well, I'm not familiar with Pooney, so I can't grade that one too harshly. But I've always loved Nate Wiggins. I got turned off by the weight, but now I'm catching back up just because the film looks phenomenal. And again, at that frame, I feel like you can put on the weight, especially when she's a freaking millionaire in the NFL. I've always had, I confessed my crush on Austin Booker and what I think he could be. And then you guys really sold me on Cornelius Johnson. I didn't know if he's moving that fluid. I mean, is it hands? Does he have hands?
They're above average.
Yeah. I guess.
I compare him to Roman Wilson, which isn't fair. They're different players, but I see those two when I'm thinking about Cornelius. He just never really put it all together at Michigan, which is understandable. But so I just don't know what he's going to project to. But he's an athlete.
With Ben Johnson, then he's got an athlete, he's got decent hands. I think you turn him into Josh Reynolds real quick at 6'3".
And his name's Cornelius.
That's a fire.
Fun name to say.
Yeah, I love corn.
Yeah. Scary movies.
I'm gonna give it a B-, Dion. Just because Nate Wiggins isn't my favorite cornerback. I like the group of players. I usually take a defensive tackle in my mock drafts, but it's really not necessary. With the signing of Reeder, and you hope that Reeder and Terrell Williams bring out a little bit more at a Broderick Martin. They obviously probably need to add one at some point, but I like the positions. I really like Booker. And if you believe in Wiggins, I think that's a great to go up and get your guy.
Right.
I'll give it a B-.
I like that. I like that little breakdown. See that? Okay. I don't remember what I was going to say. Chat's all C's. I don't even want to click on him. Let's go next.
What don't they like? What's the chat waiting for?
Well, let's see. So, only love the 4th round pick. All right, Zol, we see you. He likes the Michigan pick. That makes sense. Next mock, I'm doing all Michigan players. I'm nailing this draft. This kind of the C area. Hey, we need some explanations, dog. This is kind of C- area. All right, Josh, you can lead the chat. What else we got?
What did he say?
No, he didn't say that. He just said it's C- area. I don't know. But no, bro, so I'll just say that I'm probably gonna end up doing a video on Nate Wiggins soon, bro. Because to me,
awesome.
I could be wrong, but I mean, y'all see it too, though, right? There's certain players, and I think at this point now, when we see Brad, we just kind of you can feel you're that guy seems like a Lions guy. That's how as soon as I was watching it, I'm I don't need to talk myself into anything here. This just makes sense to me. So
when I watch Nate Wiggins and I love good cornerbacks, and it's hard for me to see the potential in bad ones. I'm not good at seeing prospecting that, but the good ones, they're so easy to spot. Nate Wiggins, at times it feels like he's running the route for wide receivers, and it's just next level stuff. I think Terry Arnold does the same a little bit too, but obviously Nate Wiggins is a lot faster. So I think he can cover a lot more ground. So I'm in love with Nate Wiggins. I wish he was thicker. Pause.
No, someone said in the chat he's 183 at his pro day, so maybe he just got slim to run the 4.28 because that's pretty darn amazing. I'll say so to what you said, Easy. I think chat needs to check it out if you haven't seen it. It's against two plays. One is not really a specific play. There's one against North Carolina, which I love his interception at the end there because it's like you're thinking, okay, game's about over. He just threw a pick. But I love the fact that he was so aggressive because he doesn't give any depth on the play. He's playing the guy he's playing man 1-on-1, but he doesn't back up at all. And it's like he's expecting that the receiver's just throwing to the sideline. You know how they throw the sideline. Let's like get a little bit closer, and then we'll try to throw a Hail Mary. That's exactly what North Carolina's trying to do. He just didn't back up at all. He just stood right there and he threw it right to him. And then when you watch him, to what you said, Easy, where I feel that aspect is when you watch anybody his ability to like seemingly read when a receiver started to like kind of change his pace to try to break or something like that. Like he steps right on top of it and it's just close their space immediately. So I love those little aspects, man. But all right, who wants to go next, man? Who's feeling it?
Let's do Broder. It's the first time.
All right. Did you get it? I sent it to you on Twitter. Did you get it?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I can't even remember which one I sent you. So we're all going to react to this together.
Okay, I'm gonna zoom in on it that way. Oh dang!
By the way, speaking of Michigan guys, on my last the one I did on last Friday, I had Mikey Sanders still at 29, and he got ripped apart, especially from Eduardo in the chat.
Eduardo wasn't feeling it. Wait,
I would like it if he played outside.
Yeah.
True.
I just think he's a nickel at the NFL level.
He's versatile. He can do it. He can slide right into special teams, the new kickoff rules. You're talking about iffy and these safeties, corner hybrids. Like the versatility in this defense would be insane. Like he can blitz off the edge. The only issue is he's small, and Amik Robertson is small. Like I don't mind that each of them are small, but like together, they're small. You know, that's a lot of smallness out on the field. If they're out there together, but both of them can play 3 or 4 different positions in the secondary. Sorry, I'm getting a little passionate.
No, I think at that point, like the reason you could talk yourself into that is because I still think the Lions could absolutely use someone that could step behind Brian Branch. Like there's no
talk about raising the floor. Like the draft picks that maybe aren't your starter. We know he's a Brett Helms guy, a Dan Campbell guy.
Mike played slot. He's built like a slot. But his speed isn't terrible. Like you could play. I mean, if you could play Cam Sutton out wide, the Lions felt like that was going to work. There's no reason they don't feel like Mikey Stamer still could step outside because he's faster than Cam Sutton was, and he tested faster than he did too. So,
or push Amik out there. He wants to play man.
There you go. All right, I can't figure out how to zoom on this. I'm not gonna lie. Wait, maybe I figured it out. I can't figure out how to zoom in on yours, so I might like have to spoil it all at once.
Maybe open it from Twitter and just zoom in on the Twitter. We'll let you do that or no?
I don't know how to zoom in.
Oh,
dang!
How do you zoom in on yours? Like just from the site?
What?
When you zoomed on your mock? Was it from?
I had it on my photos. Wait, let me see if I can. I might be able to do that.
Don't listen to me then.
Nah, that's a good idea because I wasn't even thinking about that. Let me try to pull it up like that. Cause I want to zoom in.
I'm not. You're more well versed in this than.
While you're figuring that out, I saw a good comment from DCP1 when you were talking about Nate Wiggins. He was like, "We do need a real cover guy like that with speed."
Yes.
Right. It's true. To play with Carlton Davis, I like that DCP1.
Even now, I think Meek's the first piece of like true speed we got back there. Like beforehand, I remember like listening to Amon-Ra St. Brothers podcast. I always call it.
It's Amon-Ra.
You couldn't even see exactly. He's the star of the show. Let's be real. One guy's a Chicago Bear, but somebody was on the show. I think it was DJ Moore, and he's like, "Yeah, your guys' secondary is kind of like slow. Like, who do you think's the fastest guy back there?" And Amon-Ra kind of struggled to give him an answer, and he said Jerry Jacobs. And it's like, well, we all know Jerry. Like, yeah, it's not like all due respect to Jerry Jacobs. I just feel like you don't want that to be the fastest guy in your secondary. I think you need somebody back there. And Nate feels that.
No, it's absolutely. Oh, y'all didn't see that.
If you got to break it all at once, it's one of these picks is inspired by you.
Oh, okay. Look, I had it for a second. I think I know what I'm doing now. I got it. Look at this. Wait, hold up.
Does it let you save it and zoom in?
Jordy Manchon, hold Control plus scroll to zoom.
Okay, that might work, but I figured it out, so we're good. It's just like It's like a little fuzzy or something. All right, I don't know. All right, we got it. We got
it. So there was one trade in this one, right? Okay, yeah, I know which one you got.
Looks like there was a trade. Yeah, the first one was the very beginning was a trade here. I'm gonna zoom in on it. Trying to hide the player. Okay.
The excitement is building.
Yeah, that's what this is.
I'm still doing notes on my guys because like I literally did these drafts like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to go in like crazy depth on all these, but there's a reason kind of how it all played out, and that's where I'll hope to explain.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who did a trade.
Yeah, so I traded back in this one. I received 37. I wanted 2 100s, and the Chargers had that for the taking. So I allowed them to move up to 29, gave them 205 also. On PFF, I didn't even need to give it to them, but I don't need all those extra 200 picks. They moved up, I believe, to go get Darius Robinson in this mock, which was interesting to me. Yes, I moved back to 37, and I got a corner that I really like. I got someone I really like. TJ Tampa.
Yeah.
I like his size. I like his length. I like what he can. He reminds me of Carlton Davis. I know he's still got some tools he's got to refine. He's a little raw, but there's something about TJ Tampa that he keeps coming back to me. So I went with cornerback round 2, pick 37.
Easy, you go ahead first because I think this was your guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about him. Yeah.
No, I'm a big TJ Tampa guy. I think he plays the way AG Myers defensive backs to play. It's physical. I think he's got the size to do so too. I personally I was hoping he'd test a lot better. I don't know if he had his pro day yet. If he did, I didn't look to see those numbers. I think pro day numbers kind of sketchy anyway, but I think just on tape, it makes sense. I've heard 2 different camps on like the tackling. I've heard some people like not love his effort in tackles, and I've also heard the opposite where he's kind of physical. I think he's physical. I just don't think he wraps up. I think he tries to use like that size to his advantage and just like almost like launch his body into people versus actually tackling people. But I like TJ Tampa.
And the truth says TJ Tampa may be more of a safety than a corner, knocking fools out.
But also, I mean, let's be honest, they like that versatility. So like,
sounds like
if that's the case, yeah, they would like that. So I'm cool with it. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that idea probably stems from like the biggest issue that I had with him, you know, just playing corner in general was it's like to what you said, like clean some things up. Everything feels like it kind of breaks loose for him right on the route. Okay. Like it feels like there creates a lot of separation, and it's just like technically this feels way off. Like it's just not dialed in. Yet when you see that, there's no reason that it's weird that you would have a guy that's ranked this high where you see that so consistently. That just speaks to the talent that's there because, like Easy said, I mean, he sized out pretty well. Like I think he's 6'1", 200 pounds. And then for me, I still walked away and I was like, the best place that I like him is sitting on top of the route where he can just dive on the football. Like that's where I like him. Talk about as a run defender. It's like, all right, he doesn't consistently wrap up, but I thought he was a really good run defender. I actually noted a specific play in here as a run defender where he set an edge against Sanders, the tight end out of Texas. And it's like, okay, that's pretty darn good for a cornerback. Like I can rock with that. I always would go back to Easy, and I was like, Easy, like if he hit his peak, I could see like a Richard Sherman type. Like that was the name that I gave him. And I felt good about that comp based on what they both were kind of known for coming out. And if you did something like that where like Richard Sherman, hey, we'll play you in half turnover, let you sit off coverage. Like if you could almost like dial down the reactive movement where he has to stick with a guy throughout all these transitions, just let him play fast. Feels like there's a lot here. So I like him. I don't know that I love him, but I like him. So I'm not mad at the pick, especially when you trade back. Like, it makes a lot of sense. I had my lowest grade in zone to what my man DCP is saying here, but he's effective in zone because of his build. And I don't know. What do you think?
Me?
You think he's more of a zone guy? You guys think he's more of a zone guy, or you think he's more man?
Him be more of a zone guy, especially after the athletic numbers came out.
Yeah. What
yeah, I can appreciate that. And this is one of the corners that I'm looking to take another cornerback later in the draft. A second rookie. Like if I were to move up for, I did one with Terrion Arnold or Nate Wiggins. If I'm moving up for a cornerback, I want that to be my guy and maybe sign a free agent cornerback as another piece. But with TJ Tampa, I have another cornerback that I pick at 164 to hedge some of that. Maybe it doesn't pan out, but I want a backup there.
So is this like your guy, or is this like, let me mix it up a little bit? Let me go get this other corner.
A little more mixing it up a little bit. Like he was there when I traded back. I wanted secondary or actually that was a spot that I would have maybe looked for a Darius Robinson, a Chop Robinson, if they're still there. They were both off the board, but it was more of he's not my guy. Terrion Arnold is my guy at cornerback. And then a couple guys later on, like Chris Abrams-Drain and Dwight Nudie McGlothern. I love those guys.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, so then I guess then the last thing, because I think it was brought up in the chat, you brought up like the speed aspect. I mean, didn't Arnold run like a 4.58? Like, you have concerns with that aspect of things? I think he tested like a 4.58.
I don't as much. There's something, and it's an obvious comp to like talk about Brian Branch, an Alabama defensive player, defensive back, but like there's something about the way he's faster on the football field. Like his scores, at the pro day at the combine, he just looks faster and plays faster on the field. And there's nothing I can really like quantify that with, but that's just kind of how he looks in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, I was just bringing it up to make that point. Is like, just because maybe the test time isn't there, like the play speed is two different things. Like there's definitely guys that like you could see the play speed. Brian Branch is a great example because like when guys are on top of it, they look like they're playing way faster. So yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of big fast guys come out. And then I know, like, as like a Lions fan or just in the past draft, like you get hyped. You're like, yo, look at this dude. This guy ran a 4.3, and then it's like you never hear the guy again. It's like there's a whole difference here. So yeah, I'm not mad at that. All right, let's keep it going.
Yeah, there he is.
This is pick 60. I love it. Break it down. You got to break it down.
So I took him before the Brock Wright news broke last Friday. You had talked about him with Easy on Tuesday. And I started watching some of his film. I can't say I like broke him down a ton, but I started watching him. I was like, I want an X-type wide receiver on the outside, but also Dan Campbell's the head coach and Steve Hyden's the tight ends coach. Like, this could totally be the type of guy who they go for. He's a beast. He needs some work in the blocking game, but he's as good of an athletic tight end who can catch the ball as any. He's tough. You see him just. Guys bounce off of him when they try to tackle him. What is he, 6'4", 245 or something? He's a beast. So it was more, when I took him and Brock Wright was still in the picture, it was more of a James Mitchell replacement. Like, maybe this is the moment to give up on James Mitchell and go after more of a pass-catching type of tight end. To pair with Sam Laporta, there's just something special I could see brewing. They could play a lot of two tight end sets. I don't know. I just figured, you know what? He's here. Let's take him.
Hey, man, you know what? I don't know if you guys I get the impression like the Lions aren't as high on James Mitchell as I am as a fan. Like, I felt like when James stepped in last year, it's like, yo, okay, we're seeing James Mitchell. But I never feel like they buy into him. So would it shock me if they did something like this? No, because it doesn't feel like they have that buy-in for him.
Yeah, there's something just missing. I don't know. And he could totally take a step this year too. Like, who knows? He had injury issues his first year with the Lions. You never know what that development can look like for a tight end. Not everyone is Sam Laporta and can just be that special from day one. Mitchell could turn into something. He was a prospect coming out.
Real last before Easy go, Mitchell is like the one, or Sanders is like the one guy. You guys obviously outside of Brock Bowers. So Bowers is built like a receiver kind of, but like he's like the one dude that you watch as just a receiving threat that feels like there's so much that could be added. Like there's so much route variety that could be put in there where you could ask him to do so much as a receiver versus a lot of other guys where you get to a spot where you're like, all right, either they're really undersized or they're fast in a straight line, but it's like, okay, I'll run these couple routes with him. Like, this is a guy that feels like you can really expand upon that. So if you drafted him, you definitely have to like shift it. Hey, we are a 2 tight end team this season. All right, Josh Reynolds is gone, but in a way this flips it. Like, hey, J-Mo and Saint, you're going to handle business. Sanders and Laporta, you're going to lead the way. So it's like, I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. We've seen the Rams invest in tight ends before. And Brad was there. What do you think, Easy?
I'm not as familiar with this game, to be honest with you guys, but ever since the new change in the kickoff rule, like, tight ends are definitely a lot more intriguing to me. Then you add on the top that Brock Wright, obviously, he's probably going to end up a San Francisco 49er because I don't know if they're going to match or beat that $4 million offer they gave him. But right. Yeah, I'm not. I really can't. How tall is he?
6'4", 6'5".
I think he's 6'4". Yeah,
he's a beast.
He's got height. He's not undersized.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
And he can add it. Like, bro, that's what gets you excited. It's like he could be like a legit run blocker. He could be a legit run blocker. We just gotta get it there. But again, with Laporta, no one looked at Laporta as a great run blocker when he came out. Then the Lions saw it and they're like, yo, it's there. And they're like, we see it. Like, he has the right tools. We just have to dial it in. And I'll be honest, I thought Laporta was a better run blocker than we had with Hockenson. I mean, I know it's like, dude was legit as a run blocker, and Hockenson was known as a run blocker. It's like he just needs to have those traits there because the Lions dialed it in. They have great coaches that coach those guys up. So I'm on board with this one, man. I like it. I like it.
Super young too. And one thing too, like real quick, like Ben's tight ends have always done well. Like no matter what, I mean, Mitchell's probably the one like on the light end, but he had the injury and then obviously adjusting the NFL and like I think he's more of a receiver at Virginia Tech than anything too. It's like adjusting at the true tight end position they want him to play. If you grab some as raw as this from what it looks like, I have some confidence Ben could show him some things, or at least put him in some situations where he truly excels, and obviously special team stuff too. And even if Ben departs, I think Dan obviously always been a tight end coach as well too.
That's again kind of game he wants to play, and that's part of the trenches.
Yeah,
Apollo, you're not wrong.
What do you say?
He's like, what if his splash in the first round is going up and getting Brock? It's crazy to think of, but like the more mocks, he could totally fall to the late teens. If he hits 20s, I'm all for it. Why not?
That would be so wild. No, that'd be wild, bro. Hey, you like Renardo? Yeah, easy. I watched Renardo Green. I watched it, man. I dove into it because y'all were asking. So I need to see him on that mock draft. We'll keep it rolling though. Ooh, okay. This is original pick 73 with Cornerback. Yeah,
Beast. This is your replacement to Zeitler. He can sit a year. He can play either guard positions. I don't know. I can't remember if he can play center and provide some backup to Frank Ragnow this year. But what he can do in the run game and continue to develop in the pass game, it's one of those smaller schools. I've just always been a fan of Mason McCormick. There's my pick at 73. I want an offensive lineman in the first 3 picks.
Yeah, I mean, you stuck true to that. I'll say with Mason McCormick, I don't know. I could be wrong. I think he's a little bit on the taller side too. So when you watch him, he doesn't like 6'5". Yeah, he doesn't look like as like natural as like you would build out a guard like in a lab. But to that point, it's like our guards are tall. Like the thing I just said earlier, it's like when he moves, he looks like he's like real high cut, but he keeps his pads back and stuff. So you're like, okay, this could be there. So I see what you're saying. I like that. This would be good. This would be good players to learn from. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I really like, with as you saw, I got 105 and 110 in this draft. In most picks, I would try to target like a Cooper Beebe or a Bo Limmer. There's some guys I really like. I haven't gone Mason McCormick too much, but I do like his game. So I figured we're going a little unhinged on this one. I like him at 73. You're a McCormick fan, right?
Yeah, I am. He's got that. I always forget the name of the workout, but there's the hack.
P90X.
Yes, P90X. There's the hack. I think it's a 4.6. You got to run it, and like everyone who's run that, be drafted has played 84% of the snaps available to them at the NFL level, and he did that. I think he had the best time, actually.
Never heard that stat, but I like it.
I gotta find it, actually. Damn it.
I like it.
Easy, you brought that. Is that who you brought it up for in the last show too, or is that someone else?
Yeah, then I completely forgot it.
Oh, yeah,
it's Josh Norris. Here, well, yeah.
Okay.
I'll find it if you want.
These next 2 picks are 2 of my favorite players.
Oh yeah, I like this. At 105.
Yup.
Solomon.
This is let's compete. Let's compete, James Houston. Let's do this. I think of him very similar to James Houston, which may be the reason not to get him. But whether it's Troy or any other school, he led the nation in sacks. He's got that just nasty tenacity. I since I first started looking him up, I just really like Javon Solomon. He's not super tall. He's not super big, but the way the tenacity he plays with, I just love how he can win with speed, win with a little bit of power. And I like to see him develop with Terrell Williams. He could be a dark horse. And I did double down on the old edge position coming up next in case this doesn't pan out.
Hey,
you like David Solomon?
I was gonna say for anybody that don't know, you said compete with James Houston. He's under 6'1", 246. So if you're looking at for body type, it's like it's pretty darn similar. He's undersized too. But what you said about him leading the nation in sacks, when he had 16 this last season, I can remember walking away and saying, like, he definitely does it in a different way, but he does use that to his advantage. And it took me a while, but it's like he grows on you. He was effective against big schools like Duke. So I actually like this one. I've mocked him before as well. I think honestly, it was my first one. I think I mocked this player to the Lions. So I'm not mad at this. I think this is a reasonable spot. Because again, edge is one of those spots where I think there's always a battle of like, you're getting to a guy like Solomon where you're like, he doesn't have the typical measurables. The arm length is really good, but like height wise, but sometimes that can work to an advantage. But like this is where you get that spot at draft where it's like either you have to go and get one earlier, or you're getting to the spot where you're not going to get exactly the build that you're looking for if you're trying to get real production that's already there. So I think this is where the drop off can kind of start. So I'm not mad if you're going to do it now.
I found that offensive line hack, by the way.
What was it called?
So since 2010, just 28 offensive linemen recorded a 4.47 short shuttle or better at the NFL Combine. 24 of them were drafted. Of those 24, they went on to start 84% of their NFL games. And McCormick had, I believe, the fastest
I'll take it.
Short shuttle in this year's Combine.
Should have taken him at 61.
I'd never even heard of that until Easy brought that up. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. That's a crazy stat.
Of 20, all 24 of them, 84%. And that's like probably some injuries in there too, you know?
Yeah.
South Dakota football, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. Yeah, South Dakota. Bro, there's nothing wrong with that, you know? No, Braylon Trice love. I like Braylon Trice, man. I think PFF takes him too high. That's the issue I have. I don't know if you guys see it. They take him so darn high. It's like I can't draft him there. I wouldn't draft him that high. So
like you don't want him in the second round, but like if he's there in the 4th or the 5th, you're like, okay.
Well, they for a span there, they were taking him in round 1, and I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. So I'm not drafting him round 1.
Yeah. Admittedly, my 1.0, you have to believe he was my pick at 29.
Yeah, hey, that was so long ago. Like, you think when we started doing this a month and a half or what?
He's such a spaz, man. I feel like Ian Hutch can really just like literally cause like literal chaos. Like he just the way he hammers down in there. I mean, I think everything you want Davenport to do or expect him to do in terms of like collapsing the pocket, like I think Trice can do, but in a more sporadic, like less calculated way. He just I don't know. I like the way he plays.
Trice got one of the best get-offs I've seen. So that's the one reason I was on board with that. I'll say about your pick though here in Solomon, the note that I circled or I starred was that he was an instinctual pass rusher that could adapt to the leverage of the tackle. So I like always like that because you can see guys that like they win consistently the same way over and over, and it's just like, how can I set that up? But when did you see him like, oh, he can win inside too, and then he can just play off the tackle? It feels like there's so much there. It's like, okay, he's already in a spot. Like certain guys you could argue that they're just raw, but there's already something there. So that's like the point. Like Solomon was productive, but there's a reason he was productive. Okay. Oh, okay. This is a guy I haven't watched him yet. 110.
Double up.
Okay.
Here's a little hedge. I know Easy loves this guy. He's produced at Colorado State in Fort Collins, Colorado. Muhammad Kamara's produced since he stepped on campus, I believe. He's violent. He's really good in the run, and he's an underrated pass rusher. Like, he's a good pass rusher, and people know him, but, like, he has a lot more potential there. I love, especially compared to Javon Solomon, is his ability to play the run. So however they compete in training camp, like if these two are on the same team with the Davenport and James Houston, I just think this is a total up. This foursome of edges is a huge upgrade over the Kamaras, the Charles Harrises of the world.
Dang, hey, yo, wait, real quick. You went all in first off. I'm looking at just looking at the schools for a second. Like if you took names away, Colorado State, Troy, South Dakota State, you'd be like, bro, what are we doing?
Run hands.
I love it though. Hey, I like it though. I bet it.
With Brad Holmes, it's who knows. Like, I would have never pegged a William and Mary or a Western Kentucky, but like it could happen again. You go get Malachi Corley again. Like, Brad Holmes, their scouting department, it's impressive.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, hey, look, like I said, I don't know the dang thing about this dude. I'm sure he was super productive at Colorado State, but Easy loves this guy, so I think Easy will be on board with this.
Yeah, I mean, this one's kind of similar to the Austin Booker stuff, and maybe a little bit more refined. Like, it's just the raw athletic numbers on top of like actually like contributing to again at school at Colorado State. You look at those numbers at Colorado State and be like, okay, like, yeah, you got 14 sacks. That's like Colorado State. However, when you add the 10-yard split next to it, the length, the size on top of it, then everything starts to add up. Like James Houston, different obviously build, but like insane numbers at a lesser college. But then you see like his get off and everything. You're like, okay, it makes sense he did what he did. I think Muhammad Kamara is just that. I think I'm excited for you to watch him, Dion. I think I think you should put him on your list for sure.
That's the next. Yeah, I gotta get to him, man. I mean, you've been more for too long with that. I gotta watch him. Okay, next up. Oh, I love this. Okay, 164 is the original pick here. Tell me why you like it, because I love it.
Not only does he have that size, I believe he's 6'1" also, but playing at Tennessee, playing quality football for, I think he started for 3 years. There's just, and I'm trying to find my notes. I should have had these pulled up, but he's fast, right? Like he's one of those long man cover corners who's fast and quick. I know I'm not giving the most deep dive on him, but I really like him. And Brad, take it for what it is. He likes Tennessee cornerbacks.
He does, bro. Like I don't know if it was the last one of the mocks that me and Easy have done. One of the first. I know I took him. I think at the same spot too. I don't know what it is about PFF. I think they have this dude way too darn low on their board. I think this one's just off. I could be wrong, but I think this one's just off. Maybe it's just like when I watched it here. I just pulled my notes, so I got your
perfect.
Yeah, 6'1", 196. So I didn't have a time listed on here.
I'm pulling.
I didn't have a time listed. Oh, here's the stats. Yeah, last year, real quick, 12 receptions on 33 targets. Just for anybody that's wondering, he gave him 12 receptions last season. But like, it's like I don't know that I thought he was the most well-rounded corner. It's like I could put him in every spot and I love him everywhere. But it's like if you put him in a spot where he can just sit off and dive on the route, you're gonna love it, man. Because he has the size, he has the length, he's played well against really good competition. You feel like there's instincts there at times. He plays the run well. I'm on board with this one. I had him listed. Oh my god. I think this is a third-round type of player for this draft at cornerback. From what I wonder,
Deanna, I'm looking at NFL.com, and they say he had a season-ending shoulder injury that needs to be vetted out. I wonder if PFF factors that in of why he's going so low.
Definitely could. Yeah, that definitely could be. That absolutely could be.
He can step in and learn from Emmanuel Mosley.
I also think that cornerback is deep too this year. Sorry, I think cornerback's pretty deep too. So that could be a reason. But hey, it's a good year to need a corner because I mean, dude, beyond round 2, round 3, you can still find some guys. Easy, do you have any thoughts on this one?
So he's always there, and I've always liked the measurements. I've never actually put on the tape though. So it's like I can't give a fair opinion on him without that in my. I like the measurements though. I'd have to say that. We talked about it like I think our very first episode doing this. Like we like those bigger corners, and he fits that mold.
Yeah,
6'1", right?
I like it. Yeah, 6'1",
6'1", 96 pounds, or 196 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, I even know I don't know if what this was based on. Oh, he's from a JUCO. Like, I think there's safety flexion here. Like, I think there's safety flexibility because where he thrives, it's like I like him playing on top of routes. So like maybe you could even kick this guy to safety. So maybe this is the guy that goes to safety. Maybe your TJ Tampa sticks at corner, and again, so that flexibility is still there.
Okay. So you guys both watched the film of this guy?
A little bit.
Just from what I was reading, is he? Do you guys watch Cam Hart at all? Notre Dame?
Yeah,
I've seen more Cam Hart than.
Are they similar?
I think they're similar, and I think they're both best in the same type of coverage.
Yeah, so because that's from what I read, that's like the vibe I was getting to. I was like, wow, okay, like a lot of people like Cam Hart, and they're always like stressing over taking him a little bit early. Like if this guy's there late, like I'd rather take him.
Yeah, the value. Okay. Let's keep it going. Oh, I don't know who this is. Okay. Round 6, 201.
Zion Logue with Jared Fogue. Again, I don't know a ton about him. I know he's huge. He's like 6'6", 315, and he played DT at Georgia. To be honest, I wanted a defensive tackle in this draft, and that's why I took him.
Yeah. I will say this though. That was the one thing that hurt me most about my mock. I was like, I hate that I didn't grab a DT because like again, you don't want to force it, but like it does work. I do think there has to be something added there. Like our backup cannot be just Levi. I like Levi, but you got to put someone else in there.
Yeah.
So hey, you can't go wrong with either offensive line or defensive line. Just draft one, and then something will probably happen. They'll probably work pretty well. Otherwise, it's probably going to Philly.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're good. What are you saying?
How many drafts have you gone through? You're like, man, this is a perfect draft. And your last 2 picks, you're like, man, I don't have an edge or a defensive like,
yep.
It just like sticks and crawl on you.
It's unless you trade, you're always gonna have that. It's like, yeah, because and then what will happen is the Lions will do their draft. They won't address all those positions, and you'll step away and be like, oh, look, they hit everything. It's almost, I feel like you can really overthink it as a fan. Like, I gotta add this piece and this piece, but it's like they're gonna find ways. You always like forget, like, yo, UDFA's, there's a really good chance at least one dude's making the roster.
Definitely the Lions.
Absolutely. It's like, and then there's someone under the radar that we're not thinking of that they're high on. Maybe that's Chris Smith at DT, and they really like him. And it's like, oh, that guy.
I coached him in high school basketball. He's a local kid.
Okay. So
John Scott Jr., who's no longer with the Lions, he called him a technician.
I like.
He's got a ways to go, but I like Chris. He's a good kid.
Oh, that's sick. Okay, that's sweet. Easy, man. You got any thoughts on Zion?
No clue who he is, but he played for Georgia, so he must be a dog.
Look,
this is one of the 2 Zions I want coming to Detroit in the next couple months.
Williamson?
I disrespect you with that C+.
Yeah.
All right. Wait, it's not.
And my last pick coming up.
All right. Oh, this is the last one? Yeah, 249. Yeah, you can't go wrong there.
To be honest with you, I could care less about the kicker position, but it is they need some competition with Badgley. It was the guys who I wanted at 249 weren't there. They're like, you know what? Let's give the people what they want.
What do you guys think of the kid from the Panthers? You guys see all the hype around him?
Nate, Jake Bates.
Yes, I never. I mean, I saw it. I never clicked and read it. Is it real? Like, what happened? How did he kick like 64 yards in high school or something?
So, Dion, correct me if I'm wrong, but was there a new report came out that he didn't even make a field goal in high school? Like, this was literally his first field goal ever made. Was this 64-yard game winner at Ford Field?
That's actually insane.
Like, I can't even comprehend how that's possible. He did kick off in college, and he was a soccer player.
Okay,
but like, how? Like, I don't even know what to say, but it is real. It was a 64-yarder. He hit 2 because they iced him the first one. He made the first one that didn't count, and then he knocked the second one in. 64. How are these guys popping? First field goal he ever makes at 64. The Lions can't have a guy make a 48-yarder last year.
Yo,
actually got a 54-yarder, but like, you know what I'm saying?
You got to sign soccer players, bro. Just sign a whole bunch of soccer players. They can kick, man. Like, I've never been a soccer player that can't kick a football. Like, come on, kick ball, whatever you want to do, they're gonna be good at it. I think you could sub whoever you want here, but kicker, I'm with you. At some point, kicker's got to be addressed somehow, some way. You undrafted free agent, whatever that is. We need someone new in here.
Definitely. So what are you guys grading me?
Okay, I was looking for a little breakdown by Easy on Will Reichard. Like, maybe I just like talk about his technique, talk about like Thursdays and all this thing. His favorite movie.
Yeah, he's like scary movies.
All right,
scary movie guy.
I like scary movies.
There you go. All right. Which one? Hey, no. All right, look, bro. PFF liked your mock, bro. They gave you a B+.
Hell yeah.
The Mason McCormick, they weren't feeling it. They said, South Dakota State, like dude said in the chat, we're not having that.
That's probably my favorite pick out of the top 3.
Really?
Okay.
You guys turned me on that tight end.
Yeah.
What pick was he?
61.
61, yeah.
Early.
And I think he's ranked 51 for PFF.
Sounds right.
Yeah. I personally, I'm a Ladd McConkey, Roman Wilson type receiver. I like them in this draft, even for the Lions. But like the Xavier Legette's, the Keon Coleman's a big X-style wide receiver. I'm cool with that too. And this is kind of like that, but at the tight end position, which the Lions love, and they're gonna carry 4 on their roster now without Brock Wright, likely.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, look. So you didn't draft a receiver, but like, are you thinking? That's the replay. Yeah, I mean, you just picked
Peoples-Jones as your Josh Reynolds replacement. You still got Khalif Raymond, and hopefully you can get something out of Antoine Green. I know they're still high on him, even up until we didn't see him much last year. But every time I was in that locker room or talking to some of the coaches, like they love Antoine Green still as that kind of 50-50 guy. But one we saw in the preseason game, he took that one to the house from 75, 80 yards out. So this is that one. It's maybe the only draft that I haven't taken a wide receiver also, or very few that I have. But that's kind of where that pick is. That's the X wide receiver. He just happens to play a different position, and you use the other guys.
I like the thinking there because, yeah, I like the thing with Antoine Green. Like I like the idea of Antoine Green still being able to check some of the boxes Josh Reynolds could. But then it's like, yeah, I mean, no, I think it's creative because you didn't take a receiver. It always feels like you have to take a receiver. The back-to-back edge, like I only know one of them. I liked one of them. I don't know the other one. That's where like one of those where I'm like, okay, could that be? And you let me know. Could that be too much? Like, could they be too similar, or
Maybe.
could one play a different role where they could kind of live together?
That's a great point, and I don't know. It probably is overkill if we're being completely honest. I think when I was doing it, that 105 and 110, like that early 100s. Honestly, I would like the cornerbacks and some of the offensive linemen in that area. I love. Mm-hmm. And then I look back and I had already taken a cornerback at 37 and a lineman at 73. So I was like, man, I got to probably get an edge. I don't like any of the receivers left. And I like both of them a lot. Like, yeah, I think Cam Hart might have been available there. Chris Abrams-Drain might have been off the board, but there are a handful of cornerbacks that I love in that. Some people like Max Melton. I like him. I don't know if I love him, but I like him. He'll probably go a little earlier, but that's a tricky spot. 2 edges probably is an overkill.
Okay. No, I was just curious because you did make a good point. Like Romeo's gone, Charles is gone, Julian's gone. It's like they had a lot of guys. They just none of them really played.
You don't know what you're getting with Davenport.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't know what.
That's my least favorite sign.
How many games you're like? If he play, anyone who is counting on him to play 17 games, you can't. You hope you can't.
No, and even if he does, he's rotational. Like he doesn't play every snap.
Right.
But I will say I think Marcus. If I had to bet on a guy outside of Carlton, I would say probably throw Carlton Davis in. I would bet Marcus Davenport gets extended after this year. That'd be I'd bet on that guy out of all the free agents.
He's young.
That he'd be the guy that comes back.
It's wild.
It's like there's just too much there when he's out there. All he has to do is be out there. That's it. Just play. Like, and I get that's the concern, but it's like, bro, just like what man said, just play 10 games. Just play 10 games, you'll get re-signed. Like he's gonna show it in 10 games. Just play. That's all you got to do. So I like it. What do you think, Easy?
I remember one offseason I read he had freaking like 5 surgeries and one offseason on that shoulder or whatever.
Davenport, he's been under the knife a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had to deal with a lot, man. I mean, that's tough. I'm trying to look at this. I mean, I really don't have any issues with your mock, to be honest. I just don't know who Zion is, but it's a defensive tackle, so I think that's good. What do you guys think about quarterback? Like anywhere.
Quarterback?
Yeah, quarterback.
I wouldn't be a possibility.
Quarterback?
Yeah.
Like QB.
Yeah. Yeah, QB.
I have a confession.
What?
I would not be mad at all. I honestly encourage it, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah,
if we're carrying 3, like I saw they signed Nate Sudfeld. Like, I'd rather get another project. Like, and this won't be it because he's probably gonna go a little bit higher. But I like Spencer Rattler.
Okay,
like
he's not my guy, but I have no problem. Like,
and I get like the storyline behind him and how he lost the job, but look who he lost the job to, by the way. Caleb freaking Williams.
That stuff I don't want because that's character building. That's like that
he's been humbled.
Yeah,
and had that comeback.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
My problem with him is he holds the ball too long. Like there's always pressure. It seems like there's someone in his face and he's letting the ball go, and then Xavier Legette is coming down with a crazy catch. But he's got some tools.
Yeah. Hey, Spencer Ratt. Yo, he went from like this dude's that guy, and then it just kind of fell off. Then he built it back up with South Carolina. So. I don't know. It'd be real curious to see where he goes because I was just wondering because like I've seen people say like in the first round, I'm like, okay, that's not gonna happen.
Quarterback in the first round?
Yeah, like, that's crazy. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. But it's like Hendon Hooker, we're great. Like, I just wonder if like maybe we could see him just take a swing, maybe take like the old Lions approach where when I think that was when Bob Quinn was here, he like took the Patriots approach with him. Hey, we're gonna draft some late round quarterbacks. None of them hit, but we're gonna do it. Like could 201 instead of being the tight end or the D tackle be a quarterback? Or he just instead of going Connor Sampson, because those guys really never stay or stick around. They take maybe a legitimate swing at something.
I don't have a problem with it, especially if they re-sign Nate Sudfeld, but I don't expect him to play at all. Like he'll either be your third string quarterback or your emergency quarter. He's there to help Jared Goff prepare for games and just he'll help him up here. But so you could have, if Hendon Hooker turns into trade bait or like depending on what happens with those two, having a fourth guy is not a problem. Like they need a fourth guy anyway. Who was it? Adrian Gonzalez last year run their practice squad. I have no problem. I don't know who it would be late. I know Tua's brother's there.
I took him in my 7th round yesterday.
Joe Milton's out there. There are options, but I don't mind the strategy of going after a quarterback.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Easy's mind. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah, bro.
What is this, bro? All right, I'm gonna
trade. Is the first trade?
No, it's the last. It's the last one.
Oh yeah, last one. Bro, I wanted to be done, bro. I was like, I don't know any of these guys I'm looking at right now. I'm just gonna draft one, and then Dean's like, yeah, how do you feel about him? I'm like, he was there. Yeah, I pass up on this guy.
About me.
All right, I'll screen share. Wait, I don't want to screen share. Hold on. Oh yeah, okay, like this.
I don't know how you did it last time. No, I'm down. I'm definitely down for quarterback though.
But Ricky Bobby, it's coming. Easy's mock is coming.
Here we go.
Stay tuned.
Why does this Skype thing keep popping up?
I've noticed that too. We gotta like download the app or something. I don't even.
Easy made a big move, man. You made a big move. It looks like to get this thing.
Oh, crazy! Move. Crazy move.
Yeah, you made a big move.
Dion, you've talked to Easy about. Whoa.
Okay. Too much, right? Or no?
Around 2. Oh, next. Oh, you tried all future.
Hold on. Yes, you're right. So check it out. Round 4. That's a DeAndre Swift round 4 from the Eagles.
Okay.
Round 6 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers round 6, which it might end up being a higher round 6 by that time, by next year. But
okay.
That second rounder.
With that second rounder, though.
Depends. We'll see. I'm trying to guess who. Dion, who do you think he won at 15?
Oh, he moves.
I really actually don't remember. I don't know. Oh wait, actually I do remember. I won't say it. I know who it is. Who do you think it is, Broder?
I think it's going to be either Dallas Turner or Quinyon Mitchell. Just my guess.
Yeah. Chat, what do you think? Who do you think easy trade? Trad, is this a good trade? Round 2, 4, 6, and 29. I mean, it's actually not that bad the way that you broke it down. The round 6 isn't much at all. Round 4, yeah, we have 2 of them. You know, you're really giving up a round 2 pick. You know, you're giving up next year's round 2, which is probably be the end of the draft, hopefully. So, and this one's in Detroit, so I get what you're doing. You're like, I don't want to give up picks this year. We got to make them all because it's here. That's
yes. Yeah, okay. I just feel like we want this year's picks because this year just feels like a little bit of a window for me. Maybe you want to cook up some at that trade deadline. Acquire Chase Young or something.
The keys to wisdom.
You ready, Easy? You ready to get going?
Give me the butter, baby. Give me the butter. Latu.
For me, I can't. When it first came around, I liked the more athletic pieces. I'm not gonna lie, like Jalen Verse and Dallas Turner. Like obviously those are gonna turn you on every single time. But the moves, the plethora of moves, like he has them just falling out of his pockets at all times. The pass rush moves. I think on this defensive line, you're gonna meet a lot of one-on-one situations where those are gonna come in handy. You know, you're gonna be like freaking Inspector Gadget out there. I feel like Latu is out there on the defensive line. Now there's some concerns with the age. I think that's overrated at every single position. I feel like it's kind of well known, like how I don't care how old Hendon Hooker is. Like when you get a guy in their prime, you're getting them in their prime. Like who gives a shit? You have 4 years of a good player on a rookie deal. Why am I tripping over his age? Why do I? What do those 2 years mean to me? If he's younger, that means there's more to be developed. The Detroit Lions are not in a developmental window right now. They're in a window to pursue. I think you throw him on this defensive line now, and he can almost fit any role you want him to, just because of the experience he has and the bag he has. But he also I like this 10-yard split a lot more, and I had to look it up just now too. I'm not pretending like I knew it, but it was actually so he ran a 1.62 in the 10-yard split. And the guy I think had the best was Dallas Turner, who ran a 1.6.
Latu's a freak. I mean, he's an athlete.
Bro, put him on this defensive line alongside DJ Reader, alongside Lee McNeil, alongside Aiden Hutchinson. He's going to eat, in my opinion. And I feel like this draft class in general is just what I was listening to today. I don't remember if it was GMs that was polled or scouts that were pulled, but a lot of them felt like this draft class, like from pick 1 on to like I think it was like 17 was the cutoff, or maybe even top 20. That's a good crop of players. So a lot of players or a lot of teams are in like pick 5. You could trade back into like 17, and still get a guy that was worthy of like a top 10 pick. Latu, when I saw him fall to 15, I was like, I'm making the move and I'm just grabbing this, and I'm gonna have a dog ass defense. There's gonna be no more excuses for AG, no more excuses for Aiden Hutchinson, because we're gonna actually have some results. Where you at, Dion?
You know what, man? I loved like the first 90% of everything you just said right there. I was about to start clapping. I'm gonna let him go. I'll let him go. But I don't disagree with the pick. I do disagree with the ending to what you just said there about no more excuses for Hutchinson and Aaron Glenn. I don't think drafting an edge is the answer necessarily, meaning what I thought the biggest issue was last season. But I don't think that's what you're saying necessarily. Like, it doesn't have to just because it's a round 1 pick.
I think you need production now.
Okay. Yeah, now look, I'll say this, man. I'm not mad at it at all. Like, what I loved about your breakdown was what you just said. You draft a guy like this, he's plug in and play. You take him at 15, and it's like, okay, we have Davenport, but he can kick down and play on the line if he wanted to. You're just grabbing a ready-made edge rusher. You're having 2 of the best in football. It'd be interesting, but the difference between what you're doing and what other teams have done, where it's like they're paying 2 edges at once, and you probably ultimately will, so you could fall into this trap, but you do have 2 rookie deal edge rushers for now. So for now, it's like down the road, it could be like, oh, dang, what do we do here? You might be making a tough decision, try to pair those 2 together. Yeah, I
care about the age. He'll be 51 by then. So just
hey, look, 6'4", 254. Like, that's a perfect size for what you want as an edge to step in right away. And then for the notes that I had, for him as a pass rusher, like, it's exactly what you just said. He can win inside, outside. There's a lot there might be some limitations a little bit, but he's a little bit more. I get more of like the slither approach, remove more of the agility. That's how I see him as a winner, inside, outside. Maybe a little bit less of like just a pure forceful edge rusher. So the only issue I would have is like, do the Lions want that style or they want a different style? And then it's just like, if that's the guy that they're going to go with, you just make it work because you have the Pascals, you have the Davenports, you already have the guys to kind of offset that. But yeah, I don't really have any questions. Movement skills.
Motor, if you take James Houston and Davenport together for Latu, because I feel like he offers like a little bit of both aspects.
He's probably got the most refined bag in terms of pass rush skills and moves and athleticism. Like, he has it all. For me, the only concern, it's not even age, it's his neck injury. Like Eric Pratfall, 54, reminded me in the chat, at neck injury. He had to medically retire. You could say it's Brad Holmes' guy, but no, that's my only concern. He's as plug and play. I mean, he's very slightly under Dallas. He's right there with Dallas Turner. Dallas Turner is maybe a little bit more athletic, but they're both freaks. He would be a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, so then the question I would have for you is this, because I know I've definitely heard this too, and I don't know that I think it could be kind of taken too far, but like the idea of that this is a guy that, obviously with the playing time, like, is this something that's a little bit more, he's technically sound, because you asked me this question before, versus like, where's the upside here in terms?
Oh, you muted yourself. Flab and Abbott.
There we go.
I liked 90% of what you had to say there. So you muted the rest of it. What were you saying?
No, he ran well, but I don't think he tested that explosively. I didn't have like high marks on his first step ability. So like some of those explosive things probably won't, like, they're not going to be there, right? But at the same time, it's like he's very polished right now, so he's going to give you immediate impact. So it's like, is that a concern for you at all, that you could feel like he might be, or do you not feel like he's closer to a ceiling? But is there a concern that you could be closer to a ceiling, that you're drafting him as, like, that's his best? Doesn't sound like you are, because that's where the Lions' window is. But
yeah, exactly. That's how I looked at it, within the window. Now, I guess there could be an argument there, is like, do you give up that much to grab a guy like that?
Yeah,
I could see that discussion being had. But I just feel like along this defensive line, it's almost like, in a way, I mean, because I think Brad likes to have control of these contracts too. Like we've been calling him Bargain Brad on the heavyweights lately, because that's just how he shops in the free agency and whatnot. So I think he gets a piece that he likes. He gets him on a rookie deal where he controls it. And like, even if you come down to a situation like, what do we do at edge here? I mean, maybe that's a piece you move off of, a franchise tag. I mean, we've been seeing that. That's become like very popular around the league. Even if you move on from a guy, you're gonna franchise tag him. I mean, even for like Jerry Sneed, I'll collect a third and a seventh to get it done if I have to. But at least I got something back for him, right? And I think that's where you find yourself with a Latu if you don't decide to re-up him.
I love how even before seeing his next pick, we all have a little different strategy with how we've approached this one, which is why it's fun at 29. Oh no, if that's yourself, you're moving up my ranks in GM.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, I would address this quick. Man, shout out Eduardo. He was hating on my draft though. I think you were hating on my draft though, Eduardo. So like, part of me feels like I shouldn't answer. No, but what was the biggest issue for this team last year? Now, to me, the biggest issue was cornerback. So I feel like they addressed it, mainly with Carlton Davis. But like that's also part of the reason that I did back in there and I took Nate Wiggins. I think if you told me the Lions rolled in next year, let's say with the top, whoever your top corner is, you put the name to it. I won't put the name there. Tell them say they got a really good corner that can impact day one. Like it's not easy to find that. Say they just got a really good corner, not a pure lockdown, not that. And then Carlton Davis opposite, everything changes up front for them. Everything changes up front. The sacks numbers are going to shoot up. The pressure rates will start to equal sack rates. I think everything changes for this team. It's kind of like how I thought it almost feels like in a way kind of the impact of getting Taylor Decker back to the offense. It was like, oh, it's just about getting the left tackle back. But it was like, no, the receiving game's going to open. The route concepts are going to get a little bit deeper. I feel like that's what cornerback will do for the Lions. And I think, they've addressed it. But I think that's what it would do for them in terms of pass rush. Like it's going to open up all of the things that we weren't able to see before. It could pull back the blitzing that's necessary. It could also speed up the blitzing and be like, oh, let's get back to the more aggressive first year Aaron Glenn because they can cover back there. So let's just go crazy. It's kind of what Brian Flores tries to do with Minnesota. He just doesn't have the corners for it. Go ahead, Easy.
It's a really good point.
Oh, I thought you were
getting excited. You're getting me excited.
All right, let's see what he's got. You got a trade here? No. Okay. 61.
Ooh.
Polk.
So I think Brad truly wants a X out there. I've been saying this forever since I saw what they met with at the combine. The three guys they met. I think Jalen Polk could fit that role for us. 6'1", 200 pounds. What I like most about him though is just the willingness to catch contested balls. And I think if you want somebody there for like the red zone situations, I think for obviously some of the role where obviously Josh Reynolds you had, but sometimes too he'd be as the Y. I think we broke down a little while ago with Dion, but like, yeah, I think he fits that role, and I think he's very, very competitive in terms of like going out and catching those balls. I think it's Steve Smith Sr. who calls it like a pluckability.
Yeah.
I think Polk has that, and I like him for that aspect. Well, and I watched a ton of tape on him. I wanted to grab a receiver for damn sure, and that was the best one available. And BPA, I was like, let me grab this guy.
Yeah, they got 3 big time receivers at Washington, so it's crazy how loaded that room is. Like LSU is like there, you can't really go wrong with taking one of those dudes. But yeah, Washington's loaded this year. The size is there. Like I would say, yeah, the pluck a bit. Like I was watching Jamari Thrash today. He has the opposite of pluck. Like there's certain guys that have the opposite of it. Like you can see it where they're like double catch and everything. So yes, like that's a real skill.
Oh, he did it again. You there? Mom?
Is anybody alive out there?
Is this on our end?
I don't know. Let's see. Can the chat hear Dion?
Chat, can you guys hear Dion?
I don't know. You're getting an A+.
Yeah, you gotta get a new mic, man.
It could totally be us.
It could be us.
Hey, Eduardo. Hey, chat.
I need like a flash of light when y'all can't hear
you.
Go ahead. Say what you were gonna say, bro. Go ahead.
Chat, send some donos so Mike can get a new mic. So Dion get a new mic, please. Please.
So he's not my favorite wide receiver in the draft, but I like wide receivers that can produce when they're not the number one option. And he had 2 other guys on his team. So like he's shown some flashes while Roma Dunze is their stud, and we don't need a number one. Like I wouldn't say no to Roma Dunze, but like someone who has been able to fill a role well, I'm all for a guy like that. He's not my favorite, but that's what I do like about him.
So, okay, quick side note then, because I'm sure you guys saw like the stuff that's coming around about Tyler Boyd. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, you guys have like intrigue in that, or like what's the thought? Early thoughts?
I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but I'm not in love with the idea. That's a guy who played slot a lot, and then we kind of broke down the show like, okay, well maybe played slot because they had T. Higgins, and they also had obviously Jamar Chase. But then you go back to 2 years prior to the rival of Jamar Chase, he still was in the slot a lot. He had 2,000-yard seasons, and that was, I think, 2018, 2019. Those are the 2 years where he played the least amount of slot. And I think the split still was like nothing crazy. It was like 26 out wide or whatever. I'm not opposed to it, but again, this is bargain bin Brad. This guy, Tyler Boyd, I feel like he can go out there and get a bag somewhere else. If it's a competition thing or he wants to like win with somebody, well, he's kind of got that scenario right now with the Bengals. So I don't think that's it. I think he's looking for money. And I just don't think we're going to have that to offer him. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all, but I'd rather get somebody out of the draft that could truly play outside because Amon-Ra obviously is one of the best wide receivers. And where's Amon-Ra eat? Predominantly in the slot position. So I just don't really want to acquire. I'm not going to say don't want to acquire. I don't see it happening at least.
Okay.
It's not sexy. It's not like I would rather them draft a Ladd McConkey or a Roman Wilson as that kind of similar-ish type of player, a reliable pass catcher, a good route runner. I would probably rather have a guy like Jalen Polk, who's more of a go up and get it type of receiver versus another reliable receiver. I just see DPJ being used more in this offense. You got the middle of the field pretty much taken care of. I wouldn't be upset, but I'm not slamming the table for it. I'd rather just draft a receiver.
There is a weird part in like this isn't why I was like on board with the idea, but like there's like a weird part of me because I can remember like when there was Cooper Kupp stuff that would come up. I think it was like before the season, like the trade ideas, and like you hear that like that doesn't make any sense. We have St. Brown, but then still part of you is like, yo, but if you had Cooper Kupp and St. Brown both out there, like you'd be like, oh, well, who's getting the ball? Like they're both gonna get the ball. We're just gonna adjust. It's like you took a tight end, right? You're just gonna adjust the offense for that. If you got big time Cooper Kupp and St. Brown, like you're just gonna be a very unique offense that just eats your slot receivers. I don't know. I was curious on that one because let me go back here. You had Polk, definitely different types of receivers. I just wondered if you guys felt like if they would make a move like that, how that would then shift kind of like your draft plans because you didn't even take a tight end. So I was expecting to see a receiver, but you didn't take one. I mean, you didn't take a receiver. So like, because I think most people, because you took a tight end, right? You said that's kind of the answer for receiver. But most people, and you'll see it, they're not going to take either a tight end or receiver beyond the second round. Like most mocks, people are having these in their top 73 picks. It's like people aren't waiting on addressing that. But if you added a player like Boyd, like does that completely shake everything up? And would the Lions want that flexibility if we feel like they have to go kind of early to not have to go that early on the top 73 pick?
And depending on what they do contract-wise with St. Brown, like if they could get Boyd for a 1-year deal, you re-sign, you extend St. Brown, and then next year you draft a wide receiver where St. Brown has, 3-4 years left on his contract. J-Mo has 2 left, and now you got a rookie receiver on a 4 or 5 year contract. You're just starting to like tier these contracts, just reshuffling them. That's an interesting one. I just haven't thought about Boyd enough yet, but that's a good how it could affect their draft strategy, and that's an interesting.
Hey, little side note, but I gotta ask, does it feel weird? I mean, maybe you guys saw some inside info that I didn't, but doesn't it feel weird in a way that the Lions didn't re-sign Josh Reynolds when we're hearing these numbers? Like, there's just a big part of me. It's like, I don't understand this unless this was just Josh Reynolds. And I've talked to different people and they're like, maybe just Josh, it ended on a bad note, kind of wanted to go somewhere else. It's like, okay, I get that from his side. But from the Lions side, there was never a part of me that felt like they didn't want to have him back. And then I saw a thing today, it was like 2 years, $9 million. I'm like, bro, if the numbers are closer to that, and I haven't seen the contract details, how in the world did the Lions not, like, how did they not re-sign this guy? So there's part of me that's kind of sitting there just thinking lines like, we're not going to make many more signings for the draft. We could have some even later on. That's just like, could the Lions be looking at it saying Tyler Boyd's an upgrade? Like, that's an upgrade, right? Jonah Jack, I thought for sure Jonah's coming back. Then they didn't. They went Zeitler and they felt like the upgrade. I wonder if they're like, Tyler Boyd would be an upgrade. This is part of me that thinks that way. I don't know, though.
That's interesting. In those press conferences when they were down in Florida, where Dane Campbell was talking about bringing the floor up, I think it was Brad Holmes, if not Rod Wood. I'm pretty sure it's Brad Holmes talking about like they've hit on their free, like it was the best free agent haul they've had. They got all their like A-tier players except for Josh Reynolds.
Yep.
Like he was on that list of like priority signs. So to see it, I think it was like it is 2 years, $9 million with an extra like 6 or 7 in incentives. 4.5 a year, like it puts those thoughts in your head. Like what there's something else happening. There's something going on.
Yeah.
The 2 years the 2 deals he was signed to previously though was never like nothing sexy. And I don't know, man. I feel like Brad. Here's the thing, and maybe point to Ben Johnson, how long he's gonna be here. That could be an argument, but I really do feel like Ben can almost make almost anybody work. If they have the hands, obviously, you have to have the hands part of it, and obviously route running, and you have to get the concept because it does get complicated at times. But like, I feel like Ben truly can almost throw anybody in there that works. The only thing that like hurt me, and anybody who watched the heavyweights know I was kind of pressed over the Josh Reynolds stuff, is like I was comfortable with him. I knew what he brought, and I knew that him and JG had a good relationship. And I feel like sometimes JG does take a little bit of time to get going with some of these wide receivers, just because the ball does come out weird. But it's your job so to catch it, and like it's like that sometimes. You got to get the chemistry down regardless. It doesn't matter how the ball comes out. So like that was the only concern. But like we've had games where Amon-Ra missed, and like I think it was the Panthers. I think it was the Panthers game. I did look up the other day where like you didn't even notice Amon-Ra. But it's because the offense still like moves, and that's like our best wide receiver. Like you know what I'm saying, like hands down. But Ben's he's been able to provide that for us, and I think as long as you grab somebody who catches the damn ball and obviously has enough length to provide that like a stretch down the field or immediate routes, like we'll be good either way. I do miss Josh Reynolds, but Brad's just kind of cheap that way, man.
It had to be the years. It had to be the length, even though that still doesn't
that's not even bad though.
I know.
He's 29.
I know it doesn't make a ton of sense. I like Denver for Josh Reynolds to go, and he'll be a number 2. And whoever they have at quarterback, he'll have a bigger role. But like you said, easy, like 32 first downs out of his 40 catches, and then 5 of the other ones were touchdowns. Like he was Mr. Reliable.
I'll leave it with this. Because you said Polk, and one thing Easy brought up, pluckable, right? I'll say this: Tyler Boyd. I mean, Josh Rose was reliable for us, and that's what comfortability. You know exactly he's going to catch a lot of passes thrown his way. You can make a really strong case Tyler Boyd is much more reliable with his hands than Josh Reynolds. And even though he wouldn't connect the same way as like you're thinking about the shot plays to Josh, everything underneath that, level 1, level 2, everything within 15 yards, you could argue he's a better player than Josh Reynolds. He just doesn't have that threatening speed. So now part of me just pulls back is like, well, if they really do like Antoine Green and they love the fact that he could take the top, that's where you draft him. That's exactly what they said when they drafted him. Signing a guy like that feels like it frees the draft for them because there's so many players where it's like once you get beyond round 2, there's so many players where it's like, okay, either they'll have hands issues or maybe they don't have the ability to consistently separate or maybe they're real thin. It's like, can I rely on this guy out wide? I mean, I don't know if I could rely on these guys. Like you're putting a lot of stock in Donovan Peoples-Jones, figure it out. Like you're going to have to do much more than the flash plays last year. I don't know. I think the Lions, honestly, I think they're interested in Tyler Boyd, but I could be way off. So I was just curious there.
And you make a good point. Easy will be the first to tell you they don't need anything past 15 yards. Jared Goff can't make it that far anyway.
No.
That's why you got J-Mo too.
Right.
I mean, look, Easy's a hater. Easy's a hater, dog. That's the reality of the situation. I mean, the chat knows it, right? Chat.
You muted yourself during the Polk breakdown, though. Where you at with that?
I don't dislike. I'll say like I'm not sure where I'm at with this value right now. Like I don't know where I feel like it would. I haven't got to the point where I feel good about saying like I think he'd be worth a top 61st pick in this case. I would think that I would feel that way, from what I've seen so far. I just wonder a little bit because like Jalen McMillan, he's another guy who plays a lot of slot. Like I look at that body type, I'm like it's interesting, but I'm like that guy could make sense. I think for what Lions looking for. So I'm just not sure if I'm like completely bought into where the value is here. But I haven't really had like big questions about his game. Like I think he plays well, and yeah, he'd be one of those like easy fits to replace Josh, and probably add more to the table than that as a deep threat, to be honest with you.
And then just one more point. I'm sorry we were actually receiving this long the chat.
It's interesting,
but with the Boyd stuff, like where are you at with like him playing the outside versus Amon-Ra obviously doing what he does in the slot? Because there's got to be a reason why he's in the slot. Even before Jamar Chase's arrival, like they had him there.
Well, I when I see, I think it's and I haven't went back that far. Like we've seen aspects where he's played wide, but I think it's just playing into what they know that he's going to do well. Because like he's not fast. I think he ran a 4.58 40. He's not a fast receiver. You watch, it's kind of like where he checks similar boxes to me to Josh in terms of like his ability to get in and out of breaks, like stuff like that. But I think they were truly just playing into what they think that he did best. Because even if you look back at, when he was in college, he was a running back. Like this guy, I think it was just, we know that you're going to thrive if I let you play in the slot because we're going to throw you everything underneath. We'll run RPO screens to you. Like we're going to let you eat that. We're going to take the speed out of the game as much as possible. We want you to play with linebackers, deal with safeties, and just be real crafty. And I do think that there's a real part of that could work with St. Brown because I think you can play him wide. I think you can. I just don't think you're playing him wide in a lot of situations where you want to get over top. Like if you're playing him wide, I think he can do a lot of the play action stuff. Like a lot of the the play action. Hey, Josh Brown's going to deep out. Like, to me, he could do that. And I don't see any reason why he couldn't do that. But I don't know. I honestly haven't watched enough of like back or taken really a deep dive into like why he didn't play wide with them. But I think honestly, it's just a skill set. Like, yeah, if you run a 4.58 40, it's hard to put you out wide. It's kind of like St. Brown, right? St. Brown's undersized. He's also not straight line fast either. So we're not going to play him wide. Certain matchups, he can eat it up like the Chargers game.
Yeah. Dude, he just has a feel for like the field. Amon-Ra does.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
He can teach that stuff. Like that's why Tyler Boyd might have some of those instincts that
I see that with Boyd. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just gotta watch more of him.
I think it was you that asked Amon-Ra that question in regards to JMO. He had to like slow down. I don't know if it was you or not, but he had to tell JMO to slow down. Like sometimes you don't just run full speed all the time. Like you're missing like windows where like you'll be open.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the question I asked, but I remember that answer. Yeah. And it's like there's the receiver position. There's so many nuances that even we like. I want to say we're all expert. Actually, I'll speak for myself. I'm not an expert, but like you think you know what you're looking for in a wide receiver, but there's so much that goes into it, and your football IQ, especially in this offense, needs to be just through the roof.
Yeah, that's the 100%. Because even Donovan Peoples-Jones took a long time. It's like, oh, he ain't even playing. It's like he's not even. What's going on here? That's why I think there's interest in Boyd, because he moves more than any other receiver. Like when you put T. Higgins out wide and you put Chase on the line, it's like these guys aren't moving. Tyler Boyd moves motion. He's the guy that motion all the time. So he's always moving. So he's always got to adapt to what he's seeing. It's like, all right, we got to change it up because now I'm getting this look. Like, I thought that's what I would think back to this. When Dan Campbell told us about Josh Reynolds at that presser, I think one thing he brought up was that his versatility. And I think if I asked Lions fans to explain Josh Reynolds to me, they wouldn't think versatility. They'd be like, oh man, he's, he can go win one-on-one. He's big, tall, fast. But he brought versatility. And I think the Lions value that so much in this offense because it's not just as cut and dry as like here on paper, put a guy out wide. It's like Ben Johnson's super crafty with this. He's going to lean right into what they do well. And anybody that can win underneath, Goff's going to love that guy.
Yeah, versatility, deception. Like the most famous play of this Lions season last year was the Decker report, reporting eligible. Like everything they do, everything Ben Johnson does, including like plays in the first quarter, they're leading to something in the fourth quarter. Like to put Penei Sewell at tight end, he's got to think 4 plays ahead to put him as, make him eligible. There's so much that it's wild. It's wild. We could talk about this for hours.
All right, well, I'll keep it moving because Easy's got a great pick right here. Go ahead, Easy. Austin Booker at pick 73.
But 2 edges in the first 2, including.
Dang,
actually, was this 73?
Yeah, he did. 73 and 15.
I'll let you explain. Don't take that as a negative, by the way.
No.
I took 2 edges.
I already admitted in this stream that I love this guy, Austin Booker. I think there's multiple ways you deploy him too. I just think he has that type of build. I think he would have tested better had he played the game a little bit longer, maybe just worked it a little bit longer. I don't know, but if he, like you said during the first explanation, I'm throw out Williams on top of that. That's a great point you made. Like I just truly feel like he can be turned to a beast. And then again, I think he also could be doubled on special teams as well. Like I think he's just multifaceted where you can kind of use this guy. He's long enough you can maybe even drop him in the coverage at times too, which we've seen him do with guys like Hutch, even James Houston. I mean, he's more of a stand, but like I think he has that ability. I think there's high upside here, and I love him. I love the prospect, I should say. I think he has a high ceiling.
No, Easy. I'll make this point because you brought up his testing, and I was thinking about this. The reason I think I can buy into more to Austin Booker and not be worried about the testing is because it's kind of like I touched on earlier, like with Latu, like you can wonder, like, oh, how explosive really is he? Is that really going to come along? Probably not, right? Unless we're dropping weight or something like that to get faster. This isn't a guy you want to drop weight. You're going to add weight. So if you step back and say, man, the concern, he ain't going to get more explosive. He's going to get slower. But the thing is, I think he can win. He wins like a bigger edge rusher would. Like he has the ability to do that just through technique alone. So the idea of, to me, adding weight to him actually emphasizes his skill set because he's already winning that way. It's not like I'm shifting up his game. But in the meantime, he's 240. I mean, maybe just, I don't know, maybe a linebacker a little bit. Like you drafted 2 edge rushers. Let's get him on the field.
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, I think even though he is raw, like you made a great point, Broder. That's probably is a little bit overkill. I didn't even like do a BPA like Brad would, but like I don't know, man. I just couldn't pass up on like what I think he is as a prospect.
I got no problem with that.
And I think again, like I said earlier during Dion's when he did the draft too, I'm like, I think even with the rawness or inexperience, like with this defensive line, like he's to be able to produce just because of fucking monsters we have that I cannot wait to see in unison.
Did either of you guys say, can he play inside at all? Or is he strictly a
He's kind of skinny. He's kind of thin, but I could see.
He's only 40.
See him trying.
Got you. Yeah, I love the player, and I love Leitu. Literally, the only question mark would be like, Leitu is that plug and play. You draft him, he's gonna be your, hope to be a 3-down edge. And if not, you got Davenport in Houston. So do you need another possible stud this early? But I can't hate on the players. I think they're both fantastic.
All right, let's keep it going. We got, I don't know who this is. James Williams, pick 160. Oh, here's that gap. You gotta love the gap, man. But you address safety.
Yes.
Like Michael Strahan.
I'll grab safety. This is another one where this guy's for sure to moonlight as a special teams player. I think obviously more specifically in the defensive side of it, but he's just a big, big safety. I think 6'4" was the college measurement. I don't remember what he actually measured at the combine, maybe a little bit smaller, but I know he's big enough to where he literally moved down to play linebacker this year a little bit. And I think that's going to help you. Again, AG loves that versatile role that you could throw him in there, move him around. It's great in coverage too. Not great in coverage, but he is good in coverage. I think he the same way like Kool-Aid McKinstry, I guess we were talking about like the quickness wasn't always there. I don't know that James Williams has that, but he's quick to the ball. He's physical. Like he uses that size, and I like the versatility. And I think Moonlight's a special teamer too. I mean, he's somebody that Brad Holmes' first draft class, they're going to be up next year. I don't know that if he comes back, I would love to have Iffy back, but like, here's a guy kind of like trained in his absence.
You wonder who plays out of there. Like, if he keeps improving or Kirby keeps improving, like, are they going to outplay?
They retain him?
Yeah, they're going to make too much money.
Sure will.
You know what I'm saying?
We talked about on the show where like
Lee McNeil.
Yes. Everyone's talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think Liam, like, lock him up now before he has
a season next to Reader.
Yes,
like he could be making some big time money.
He might outbid himself here in Detroit. To be honest,
yeah. I know that's something we got to get used to, but like it's hard.
Yeah, it's tough
in terms of a strategy. Like that's why I honestly don't know much about James Williams. I know Cameron Kitchens, but like I was just looking on NFL.com. He's actually ranked just ahead of Cameron Kitchens. So I can't go into any depth. I don't know about you, Dion, but I like the thought process.
Yeah, it does make. I hate thinking about it like that, but you're right, man. Like you have to look at and then that's I guess that's where you hope. Then it's like, all right, he was drafted Aleem though, so hopefully he hits another one. Like the idea is you're gonna have to keep doing this. That's part of the reason I want DT too, because it's like, bro, I want to put someone in there. Just get someone in the mix now, because if you don't, and if Aleem Neal did do something crazy like that and they couldn't bring him back, bro, DT next year is gonna look. I mean, you'll still have Reader for one more year, but the future is like, I don't know what's going on. I don't think we have a position. It'll kind of turn into a corner. Like you're gonna have to reset pretty much everything there. So I like it. I like it easy. It makes sense. Go safety. I think a safety that could also play corner would be interesting too.
Yeah. That's why, I mean, we talked about it. And I don't know if you watched the tape, and we would do a discussion on it after the draft. So if you guys get out of here, I understand that too. But like Renardo Green, that's another reason why I love him so much too. Because if I'm not mistaken, he played a little bit of safety before moving to corner, and they moved to outside corner too. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. All right, we got 201 Trey Knox. Shout out to Trey Knox, man.
I think you want to show him last week, right?
Wait, did you say that Wait, what'd you say?
Didn't you draft Trey Knox last week?
I don't think so. We may have talked about him a little bit. I didn't. No. We drafted. I'm slipping. He's slipping my mind right now. We drafted the dude that was at South Carolina. I can't think of his name right now. Jaheim Bell. You took the guy that is at South Carolina, Trey Knox, which I don't dislike it. Trey Knox. I mean, he was effective, I think, this last year. Stepping into a bigger role. So
yeah, I think. Maybe because I don't want to discredit James Mitchell because like I know tight ends take a little while to like flourish either way. You know what I'm saying? To become what they're really going to be. Like Sam Laporta is like the unicorn of unicorns. Like that was the second best rookie tight end season of all time. Like that doesn't happen at the tight end position. It really doesn't. If you go and look at like the Gronks and Gonzalez, it takes a while usually for tight ends to get going. So I don't want to shit on James Mitchell quite yet, but like Trey Knox, the athletic ability for me. is what sold me. And again, I'm probably saying this a little bit too much, but I really think it's going to be a huge impact on the game as special teams now. It's something that obviously Dan Campbell and Dave Fipp been planning for a while. They almost seemed excited, like they want. I know when it was proposed, I'm pretty sure there was like 13 special team coaches, and Dave Fipp was one of them. Now, I remember that was like dating back to like week 14. They were talking about like the new special teams plans because of the amount of like non-kickoffs they're having. But like, I think it's going to be something they truly emphasize. And Dan Campbell, if we know anything about these guys, they truly love coaching and trying to win at all 4 phases of the game. And I mean, this new kickoff rule, I think is going to be change a lot of things. And Trey Knox, he's got helps out there, and I think he's athletic enough to even like, if you're going 13 personnel, he could be that guy that sneaks out for like those long, like little Brock Wrights or even Sam Laporte. Because Sam Laporte's gonna have a lot more attention on this year too. Late pick still, probably not big enough to block like you want him to at the tight end position, but he's got time.
6th round.
Yeah, it seems like your last 2 picks kind of did that easy. Honestly, it seems like both these guys are probably special teams pieces. So
yeah,
I mean, you got to make it roster somehow, especially at tight end. Because I mean, even if Brock's not back, he still has Shane. And I honestly, from the little I know about Trey Knox, like the way that he's built, he feels like a guy that come in and directly compete with Shane Zylstra. Like he just has a similar kind of body type. So that'd be a competition.
I got highlights of him on right now, and he's freaking lined up at the Y. Or you see like Josh Reynolds in the Lions.
He started. I don't know much about him, but he started as a wide receiver at South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, wide receiver. Actually, I think it was. Actually, no, I have it right here. Hold on. I think it's Arkansas or something like that.
The ability to do that, like
wide receiver in Arkansas, came to South Carolina, played wide receiver. Or I'm sorry, tight end.
Like not only the willingness to do that, but to be able to do that at a high level, like that's one of the maybe the least important reasons, but part of the reason why like Mikey's saying we're still, because he did start as a wide receiver. Like it's not easy to make a switch and to do that and be the dude. Like there's something to be said about going through that as a 19-year-old.
Yeah. That's a good point. That is a good point. I mean, you'll see with like tight ends when they go to tackle and stuff. It's like, bro, that's a lot. Or there's so many players kind of this year. They're going from defensive line to like offensive line. Right. Yo, that's nuts. I mean, think how long it's taken. Was it Matt Nelson? You know, like that's in a slow process, but we're getting there. Like it looks better every year. It feels like, but it's like, man, it takes time. So if you click immediately, that's awesome. Easy though. No. What are we looking at here? I need to understand what's.
Listen, there's the guys on the board. I had no clue who they were. You started the stream. We had to get going. Broder and I
got your trade. You got your 4th rounder back from the first one, moving up.
Yeah. See, there we go.
You moved up, so you got to pay Letu a little bit more money this year. So you're getting back your a 4th round pick next.
I should just force this for a 1st rounder or something.
Yeah,
I had to make it to the stream. All right,
bro. Hey, don't blame me, man. I would have kept moving it back. You know what I mean? I was tacking 5 minutes. There was no problem. Easy. I was just trying to understand because I pulled this up. I was like, yo, what is happening?
It makes 0 sense looking at it. There's no way you give up.
Like you take off the 5th rounder. For
yeah.
Year.
If I took the 5th rounder, I like this trade. But
yeah, if you don't want to take anyone in the 7th, just add to next year.
I kind of want to do a mock draft where I just do nothing but trades and just see what PFF grades me.
Man, don't draft anybody.
Yeah, draft 0, just trades.
I'm the other, like Pro Football Network, I think has one, and they actually
grade the trades.
No, they recommend the trades. Like they'll say, a 3rd number 73 overall for whatever the picks that they're like the exact. It's fun.
Hey, go ahead, Easy. You got like a.
I just want to, before anybody says it, I did not grab offensive linemen, and that wasn't by purpose or anything like that. It's just like when I was in these spots, these are the guys I thought were best. Before I knew it, I was ready to do the stream, and I didn't grab an offensive lineman, and I did mess up there. Hindsight, maybe I grabbed an offensive lineman around 2 and just grab another receiver later. But I'm not that deep with the receiving class either, though.
Easy. Charles said that we got 3 picks in 2025. Is this true?
Oh no.
No, it's not true. Okay.
Oh no. We had like 4 of them, 4 or 5 of them.
Yo, hey bro, I like this because I pulled it up. Like, man, am I missing something? I was trying to scroll down. Like, no, that's the whole draft.
Yeah.
But this is like the wild stuff that you can see happening, I guess. I'm not mad.
No.
I'm gonna be honest.
That last trade, we're not. We know what I'm saying. We're gonna pretend that one didn't happen.
I mean, you forced it, so you cheated, so you lose a grade there. Chat, keep that in mind. Don't give him better than my grade. But
no. I didn't force it. I'm saying I should have forced it. I should have gone for fifth and forced it.
I'll tell you what it says, Easy. Come on, man.
I like this draft.
Easy, tell me this doesn't say fourth straight, dog.
Oh.
No, honestly, though, I'm not mad
even.
I'm not mad. No, because what are you gonna do? I mean, you were probably gonna, just click on a random. I don't know. I'm not mad at what you did there. I would say this though, overall, Easy. I feel like you hit on some dogs here, man. And I haven't got too far into Trey Knox, but I'm on board with that. Y'all love the edge rushers though. You guys are definitely on board with like that. So is this like? Would you say that this is kind of outside the normal for both of you? I think for Easy, I guess a little bit, but like Broder, is it outside normal a little bit for you to go back to back or just two edge rushers in general? Okay.
Yeah. I really like those two guys, and in the moment it was like, all right, I can see them coming in and competing. I had the extra pick. Right. But I just want at least one. I love the moving up to get late too. Like I'd probably give this a B-, maybe a C+. I'll give it a B- because I like the player. Like Jalen Polk isn't my favorite, but for the reasons Easy picked it, I think it's a perfect reason. And you go and you get two stud edge rushers. We need pass rush. Although it was Eric in the chat was reminding me they do have 7 edge rushers under contract right now. Probably another reason not to double up.
So like the Matthew Betts, I don't think that guy's making the team.
You can't bank on that.
You
can't bank on Betts.
Yeah, like I just don't think he's even gonna make the team. And then me personally with the Davenport stuff, I said it earlier, it's probably my least favorite signing of the offseason. If he's healthy, great.
But that's why you doubled up, like for all these reasons. And you can't trust Davenport's health, or let's call a spade, James Houston. It's not like he's been healthy.
Bro,
it's kind of a freak injury, but it is what it is.
I mean, if there's a team that like should understand that, it's the Lions. Like they bring in guys that have had injuries, but it's like edge has been the one position that it's just been torn down so quickly because of injuries over the last couple of years. I mean, the depth just diminishes so fast. So if there is a spot to go back to back, that's not the worst spot to do it. Just bring them both in. Like, and again, like the Betts thing, like, yeah, it'd be great, but you don't sign that kind of deal. He's making like $990K. I don't even know if there's guarantees in his deal. That's not a deal that you're like, and James Houston, for whatever reason, it took him a while, but exclusive rights free agent, it took him a while to like tender that. I don't know what they were waiting for,
really
but it's like,
I was getting nervous. I'm not going to lie.
Super weird. Yeah. I was like, are they bringing new bags? So, yeah, I think they're, and bro, it's Brad Holmes, bro. Like Brad Holmes is not against drafted defensive linemen. Like when in doubt, just drafting the D lineman because he'll do that. Like, I don't doubt that at all. All right. Yeah. I mean,
what would you give it?
A B? I think he got 2 starters. I think Austin Booker is your best pick. Man, I like it. I mean, if I'm just taking those 5 players, I think it's a B- for me.
B-?
Give it a B. I'll give it a B-. Hey, Easy. Look, man, I would have taken Nate Wiggins. This is where I'm at. Hey, look, I would take a Nate Wiggins. I like the receiver. I just haven't like got far enough to say I could love it yet. I love Austin Booker. I like Trey Knox. It's a B-.
Yeah.
If there's a spot that they also might not draft, you could make an argument offensive lineman. I think all of us are kind of thinking like, oh, it makes sense. Like, let's go get a guy in there. But they didn't. Like, would we step back and be like completely shocked? Like, no, they do have Kobe still.
I'd be utterly shocked, to be honest with you.
You would be? I don't think I would be. I mean, I'll say this. Every time in the last couple of years, I was always like, yo, we got to draft a swing tackle. And then they never would. And they'd roll in with Matt Nelson. I guess without Matt Nelson, maybe like that changes their approach. But I think Dan Skipper is now that guy. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a real part of me that could see this. And it's kind of like we said, the Lions will walk out of this draft and we'll be thinking we have to draft all these needs. And the Lions won't hit all of these spots. But we'll end up, they'll round out the roster. To me, that could be offensive line because the potential answers are still there. And if they're not in the business of putting someone on top of someone else, like having Colby Sorstel, I think Keota also got brought back as well. At least on the interior, like I think it makes sense, but it's not a must. They don't have to.
You're right. I have a question on, I don't know if we might be wrapping up here. I got to leave in a couple minutes, but when he was talking about James Williams potentially being like, maybe he moves to linebacker. I'm interested in this linebacker. Like, I sort of feel like they're set, or at least they're, going to give both Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell another year to develop. Definitely Jack Campbell another year to develop and see that play out. And then Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I expect to see him a little bit more as a coverage linebacker, playing linebacker, not just special teams. What are your thoughts on the linebacker position in the draft?
I'll say I was thinking about this yesterday because I'm trying not to overlook any position, but linebacker feels like I think this with linebacker. I think if you're going to draft a linebacker, you have to draft it legitimately high to find, even in the top linebacker. Edgerrin Cooper, I think, plays the run well, but there's limitations in coverage. So I don't know, they'll be maybe be interested there. A guy brought up earlier, like, I don't think they would do it that high, but I think if you're going to draft a linebacker that actually can make an impact on this defense, you're going to have to draft him really high, because like who's playing over Alex and Jack and even Derek Barnes if he's playing Sam. Like, I don't think anybody's going to do it. It's going to be very difficult to crack that. So the only way I can see linebackers, if there's someone that they like late, that they're just like, hey, maybe the future, but there's so much depth there. To what you just said, like, I think they'd love to bring back Derek Barnes. Malcolm Rodriguez, I think they like him. They really like, Jalen.
Malcolm.
Yeah, that'd be the position I'd be the most surprised if they drafted. Because I just don't see a path there. I don't really know what do you think? I mean, do you think there's a path for a linebacker on this roster?
No, that's why because Brad does go BPA, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched Peyton. Was his last name Wilson or Willis?
Peyton Wilson.
Yeah, Peyton Wilson. Yeah. I haven't watched him because I'm in the same camp. I don't think they take a linebacker at all. But is he that nice though to be there in the first round? Like, is that like a?
I don't think the Lions would draft him.
Yeah, no, I'm just not. And again, if they're gonna grab somebody that can play linebacker, I just could see it being a James Williams where he moonlights as
versatile.
Yes, AG almost like kind of plays like positionless outside of like now that he kind of finally has Carlton Davis. But he kind of plays positionless defense sometimes between that safety, linebacker, and the defensive line. Like he kind of meshes and blends them all together at times. So like I feel like if they grab anything like that, it's going to be somebody that's just a giant ass safety.
In that last stretch of the season, it was like, who's going to be blitzing off the outside? Is it Kendall Vildor or is it Ife Melifonwu or Brian Branch? Like, he's creative when he's got and he didn't really even have the pieces last year, but like he's got some dudes now. Yeah. Who knows what this defense is going to look like? And I think what you opened up with when we first hopped on, Ireland probably wants to get back to more man coverage, just a buttload of blitzing, kind of controlled chaos back there. And I think it's a lot more possible with that D line solidified, even without getting an edge rusher like Letu, or just having DJ Reader and Ali McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson. Bro,
hey, I'll say that because just to kind of fly back to the linebacker thing, if they were to take a linebacker, I would think, if you haven't seen the two or if you have, I would think they'd lean more into the Cooper style. I think they go with Edgerrin Cooper over Wilson for kind of the reason if you look at the linebackers they draft, they go, even if they're not the biggest, a lot of times they have to have throwback abilities. Like, hey, they got to be able to take on offensive linemen. Derek Barnes, Mel Rodriguez takes them on will. Even Alex is probably his worst trait, to be honest, but he has the body type to do it. Jack Campbell was like the one throwback linebacker. They'll have to have that aspect, and then what you said, blitzing. Cooper was like a big spy at A&M, but he can blitz. So it's like, I think they'd want that kind of style linebacker. It feels like that's what they want in their defense. Maybe they do shake it up and go with the Peyton Wilson. Almost to me falls into more of like remember when JOK was coming out in Notre Dame? He kind of falls into like that kind of build and that kind of movement skill set. And I don't see the Lions really going that style of linebacker.
You know what type of hybrid? We can leave your ass. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh no. Hey.
And I don't see him as an outside corner, but I see him as that weapon where you just kind of just put him anywhere, and I promise you it'd be fucking all pro level.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean. I'm telling, I mean, like from the nickel to the safety to if he had to play outside, like really a guy who could do it all. I mean, he tests. I mean, he didn't test yet, but I guarantee he's gonna test crazy. Yeah, dude's a beast. You ever watch his basketball highlights? Oh yeah, you for sure did. Yeah.
Wait, time out. Easy. Who are you talking about?
Cooper DeJean. I'm just saying if it happens. Okay. If it happens, just the stuff you're gonna see in the back end is gonna be filthy. But I don't think it will. Maybe it will. Dude, actually, I could see it happening for sure.
Cooper's a dog.
After the free agency class, you got your outside corner. Maybe a me could do it, or Cooper competes too. And both those guys can bounce nickel and outside and safety.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
I'm a fan of Cooper DeJean as long as he's not like you're bringing him just to be your coverage corner, which he might end up being great at. I don't know. I have a little bit. I don't trust Big Ten's offenses that much to get a true sense of how good he really was. There really weren't that many great wide receivers in the Big Ten, but he's so versatile. You could play him at safety, you could play him at corner, and you can play him at kicker punt return. Like, he can do a lot.
Yeah. He flashes too, like randomly. Just watch a game, you see a guy taking off. It's like, God dang, Cooper's doing that too. Okay, so last question before we get out of here. First off, shout out to Broder for joining. Broder, let the people know where they can find you. There's been a lot of love in the chat here. And then obviously shout out to Easy as well, man. Appreciate y'all being here. The camera looks good. The quality looks good, man. The mic sound good. I want to ask you this question though, before I before you go into that and then go into that. But if you had right now, who's your favorite player in the draft? Like, if you're like, yo, that's my dude. You had to put your, stamp on one dude. Who would that be for you? Both of you. Go ahead.
Ladd McConkey.
Man, okay.
I have some weird obsession with him at the moment.
Yeah.
And the more hate I get from Mikey Sanders still, I'm starting to like him even more. But to answer your question, I'll go Ladd McConkey.
I like that. Okay.
That's a good question. I'm looking at this board right now.
Yo, Ladd pops fast too, man. Like, you don't even look for him. You're like, who is that guy? Bro just gets open. That dude
just gets open. And he's a way better athlete than you think. Like, he can play the slot. He can play the outside. Fantastic route runner.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Absolutely. I'm with you there. It's like the sideline route stuff for a guy that's that size. Yeah. He plays like a much bigger receiver, but he runs routes like his size. It's crazy.
You got him and St. Brown and Laporta, and then you got Gibbs and Montgomery. Like, yeah. Who do you cover? NFL's a mismatch game now. It's just get into a mismatch.
So
no team can cover all those guys.
Your next mock needs to be McConkey and the tight end. That's what we're hoping for.
I have to hold back picking him every time. He's always available at 29.
That's your dude. Take him.
I'm telling you, if he goes to the Chiefs, it'll be. We've had this discussion.
I always put him to the Chiefs at 32.
It'll be dangerous. I like Ladd McConkey too.
They need a receiver.
I was listening to an interview with Kamari Lassiter, and I think he was going to go to Georgia. Alabama. They ended up going to Georgia or whatever. But he's just like, that kid made me way better because he's just like impossible to guard. And it's like,
right.
That's like one of the higher end cornerback prospects. I got to see him in practice every day. Like, plus, I looked at the combine numbers and randomly, because Antonio Brown does the Twitter answer. C word. Well, I looked at, and his athletic numbers blew Antonio Brown's away. I'm like, I bought even more than
insane.
He's gonna be.
I love those guys. Not to go up, we're going off on a tangent again, but playing NFL players in practice in college, like Ladd McConkey going against Lassiter, Chop Robinson going against Olu Fashanu. I'm kind of surprised that Chop didn't produce more at Penn State, but he does. I think it won't be as long for him to adjust to the speed of the NFL. He's already an athletic freak, but I like those things.
I think work on this defensive line too.
I was just gonna say, I was thinking about that today actually. Watching the player, I was like, man, he's going against that guy though. Like, he should be pretty darn good. Like, he's going against this guy. I mean, look at Bama. Like, Bama probably has that problem all the time.
Right.
Like, this year had Burton coming out, their top receiver. Then he's like, yeah, he's going against Kool-Aid in practice. It's like, that's a heck of a battle, dude. Yeah. Hey, man. Okay. Hey,
let Turner or Johnny Newton.
Wait. So your guy is not. So it's Lassiter, Johnny Newton, or? Oh
no, I was just saying Lassiter. What he said about Ladd McConkey. My favorite guy in this draft, I think, is Dallas Turner. I think.
Okay.
That's a good one. Newton. That's a good one to plant your flag on. Both of them.
Why'd you not draft him? Was he gone?
Who?
Dallas Turner. Yeah.
Yeah, he was gone. He's gone at 15.
Okay.
I could have took Newton, but I just
drafted Newton.
I should have took Newton. Oh man, I love
it. That was the first mock I saw you do. You posted it. You had Newton. Yeah.
Newton's a dog.
All right, showing you rule.
What up, Mike?
Shout out to Mike, man.
Your chat's awesome.
Shout out Eduardo. Shout out everybody.
I used to hang in your chat, by the way, and a year or two ago, and I wouldn't even I would just listen and follow you. But your chat's always they're always on it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an awesome chat.
Good debate. Respect. Bro. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the chat, man. We appreciate y'all being here. If you're just joining, feel free, roll it back. We go through our mocks. I went first, then it goes to Broder, then we just went through easies. So we go through all our 3 mock drafts. Hopefully we get to do this again, us 3, because I mean I love the mock draft stuff, man. I don't know. I get fired up when I make a trade. I'm not gonna lie. When I make a trade on PFF, yo, that was fire. I feel a little bit the Brad Holmes energy. I don't know what it is. Man, I couldn't imagine being there on draft day. I'd be losing it. Like trying to make calls and stuff. I'd be going crazy. But anyway, hey, Broder, let them know where they can find you. Easy, you do the same, man. And then Broder's got to leave us with words of wisdom because he's here. So.
Oh boy. Oh, no, I appreciate you, Dion. You can find me. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all of them at MattBro, MattBro 21. And then I host a morning it's not called the Morning Woodward Show. I host Wake Up Woodward. I know. I can't believe I made that mistake.
It's been that for long. So
it has. That's what I've always called it. I host Wake Up Woodward, the morning show at Woodward Sports from 8 to 10 every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. We have a blast. These guys gave me my first opportunities. I don't know. This is a great time of year. I cover the Lions. I cover the Tigers for the network. So this is exciting. I appreciate you having me on. I'll definitely be here next week.
Absolutely. And the Tigers are doing pretty good. I mean, I'm not a big baseball guy, but I've been seeing them. Okay.
I actually don't even know if they played the game tonight, but they have been doing well. They started 4-0. Great start to the year. Great start.
Okay. I'd love to see some postseason because I definitely tune into the postseason stuff. Easy, what you got, man?
Woodward Heavyweights, baby.
Heavyweight. There it is.
Sorry, I was checking to see the Tigers played. Woodward Heavyweights, live 5 to 7, Monday through Friday. I think I'll just leave it at that. Woodward Heavyweights live 5 to 7. Make sure you guys check out my guy Broder. I personally listen to this show every day when I'm getting ready for work. And I get to work and I might even try to sneak a little AirPod, get a little extra time in there. But Broder's definitely been grinding his ass off, and official report for the Tigers and Lions now too. Hey yo. I heard how excited you were about the Tigers. Was that Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty juiced.
There are good things. Good things happening. I won't bore your audience with it, but the way I view baseball, I really like what they're doing. It's a really cool team. It reminds me of the Lions, not completely different sport, but the Lions, like the end of last year when they started to figure things out. Still young, still going to make mistakes, but there is a bright future.
That's awesome. No, I know there's some. I remember years ago we tried to do a stream. I'm just not like a big baseball guy, like just watching on TV. But I know that there's a lot of chat that's like into it. So that's your guy. Then check out Broder in his morning show. You got to leave us with words of wisdom though before we get out of here.
Oh man. Trust in Brad Holmes. Jared Goff can throw a spiral. Pay that man. Oh, there's my draft. No. Honestly, to me, it's just about I love, and why I called your chat. I love when we can all debate and have different opinions, but it's not like there's no hatred behind it. It's just, all right, yeah, you think differently than I do. Cool, we move on. I feel like there's a lot of that in your chat. That's what I hope to continue to promote on my show or any platform I'm on. So there's my words of wisdom. You can disagree with someone, you don't have to hate them.
Dang, that was fire.